Welcome back to another edition of Dante's interesting PvP discussion. I don't know, this is sort of the first of its kind, but I'm here with Revan619. How's it going, Revan?
Not too bad. Good morning to you.
And we have something interesting in store. Revan brought it up in a little chat discussion we had. Somebody, and I guess a few people have done it by now, but they put up a tier list of all the weapons. Now that all the weapons are out because the Ringed City DLC is out, so all the weapons are here. They put a tier list, you know, top tier, high tier, mid tier, low tier, bad tier, and you died through all the weapons. Now they did include bows and and great bows and crossbows, which I thought was, I don't know, just for fun. I don't even know why they're there. But but other than that, I do appreciate this list, and I do agree with a lot of it, I will say, at least from what I've seen. But some of it is like, well, that's weird. So what do you think, Revan? Where do you want to start off here?
Well, yeah, I can agree that some of these are questionable, but these were collected by people, I believe on 4chan, and then this was eventually posted over to Reddit. There's been
4chan.
A lot of discussion. Yeah, it turns out those guys, the anonymous groups, they do data mine. I mean, they got a man elected president, so I'm not going to doubt their credibility. But, yeah, some of these are questionable. Some of them I can understand, and I think the way I look at it is I'm going to try and think more why it's there, more against why I think it shouldn't be there, if you know what I mean.
Sounds good, actually.
So, yeah, do you want to start with daggers then?
Yes, we shall start with daggers. Daggers, a long-lost love of mine, obviously. I do love daggers. Now,
okay, well, I think this might be worth actually mentioning how they categorize the tiers. So we got top tier, which is the most powerful and effective weapons, can defeat anything below them with varying degrees of ease. High tier, which is weapons with high utility, damage, or versatility that are worth building for. Mid tier are dependable but average weapons that have either a gimmick or something that can be outclass them. It's not an insult to be mid tier, it's just middle of the road. Then you've got low tier weapons with just inferior to other people in their class. Bad tier, which is just things that are just not worth using. And of course, you died. You've got no chance of winning with this.
Yeah, I disagree with that list, but we'll get to that later.
Okay, so there are no daggers in top tier, but we can start with high tier.
Would there? No, okay. Now here's my. Would there be a dagger in top tier? Now I like daggers. In the beginning, when this game first came out, I thought daggers had a disservice. I do like daggers. I mean, the one that they basically say is the best is the Corvian. Corvian has the sidestep, which has been improved, by the way. Blind spot or whatever.
You can also
that has
combo
been
it now.
improved. Can you? Huh. Interesting. Okay. See, obviously I've used this pre-patch, not post-patch, but like, this weapon is good. But the one thing that really, I think, has taken daggers out of the top tier is the fact that you can hit somebody once and then they can roll. They can't get two hits. Yeah. And that messes them up. I mean, the fact that you can, and this is one thing I hate about curved swords, but the fact that you can hit somebody two-handing a curved sword and then they can trade on the second hit is ridiculous. Like, I've seen it happen, and it's gross and it's disgusting, and that's why daggers aren't top tier.
It's also funny though. I think the reason you've got these ones in high tier is a lot of people will fall for the trick. If you're just mashing off with the dagger because of the speed, some people will try to trade. Like, I know a straight sword can't trade into a dagger hitting you, so you'll just get stun locked. And a lot of people realize, by the time they realize that over like 3/4 of their health is gone, it's a little late.
There are certain things daggers do well. They have poison build up, bleed build up. They do those well. But again, if you're getting to that point, you're just going to stay away from somebody with a dagger as much as you can. So it's like, you know, it's easy to get away, although the phantom range is interesting. But, however, they need the phantom range because, obviously, it's the weapon that it is. Although they got a slight buff in damage, they still are not to that level where they can compete, I think, viably with a lot of the other upper tier weapons. But still, a good user can make a good run for their money.
No, I completely agree with that. Though it's weird that they've put a lot of them in high tier. Like, they've got that new Mirkwood hand scythe. They've got the new Aquaman dagger in there.
Yeah.
they also tailbone short sword and stuff like that. But I don't think I would have put them in high tier with the Corvian Great Knife. Like, of course, Corvian Great Knife is completely above the rest of them, just damage and reach. But it's weird to see them put the other ones in. I guess the Merc hand, the new Mercman hand side thing, you can buff with Dark to do some good damage, and the new Aquaman dagger is also a longsword that you can use like a trick weapon when you're running. You can activate the weapon art and go longsword mode. But then again, still split damage on int. So.
Yeah, I think maybe Aquamarine Dagger needs a little bit more time to see if it's actually as good as people think it is. I think right now it might be a little bit fresh, so people don't know how to play around it as much or something like that. I don't know. That could be a thing. Maybe I'm just making it up and being an asshole. I don't know. But I do agree with you that they shouldn't be high tier, and I'm also wondering how they compile this list, right? Are they compiling this list through versus the other tiers, or like how are they doing it, you know? I'm not sure if you know.
That, if you look on the right, it actually has a little key as well, the far right side of the image.
Oh, why top tier? Okay.
Yeah, so some weapons that are questionable, they put in explanations there. But the way that they did it is they did it across all the metas. So they did it at 40, 60, 80, 100, and 120. And it's just basically their 1v1 success rate. So they apparently did tons of duels with all the weapons against various people across random setup and all that sort of stuff. So from everything from try-hard fight clubs, just random arena duels is what they were claiming. Now, of course, can't prove it. And like I said, I've even seen people like Bao highly disagree with some of the things on this list on Reddit. And we've had a talk about some of the glaives myself.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't even mention, or at least I'm not seeing it, they don't even mention any type of dagger on the right side.
No, I think the daggers they just kind of assume is accepted, but yeah, again, some of them questionable for high tier for me. But then again, I've not used daggers as much, and I have seen your success with daggers.
Yeah, that's me though. I feel like I'm an anomaly as far as that is concerned. But I will say I agree with you that if it is compared to the other weapons, they should not be high tier. That's just my opinion. Again, you know, they're trying to put the AR and they're trying to put the stats on the right, but that doesn't necessarily equal over to skill set, you know? So, like, for instance, like, I can do all right with the Black Knight Glaive, but I'm not the best with the Black Knight Glaive. But I know the combos are ridiculous, so someone who's really good, that is like a high-tier weapon, or even further. I mean, that weapon is fantastic. Now, it might be better with daggers than someone, you know, who hasn't played that often, but I still understand that it is very difficult to use a dagger well, and there are easy counters to daggers. You know, just a shield, for instance, just breaks a dagger like nothing. Yeah. So I would put all the daggers in mid-tier and lower. Now, Corvian Knife is definitely up. I mean, if there's like a mid-tier you know, like I would put the Corvian definitely up higher. The Aquamarine is very interesting, but I don't know if it's interesting just because it's new right now. That's a little tough, and I definitely like.
Well, it should chip through shields quite nicely because obviously, like a trick weapon, you can switch it between dagger form and lightsaber form.
Yeah. I mean, it still doesn't do that much damage, but I guess enough to make them roll away and maybe get a hit. I don't know. Mailbreaker, like, the fact that that's mid-tier, I just want to show real quick, because I use the Mailbreaker, and look at this weapon. Look how short this weapon is, okay? Come on, man. It's ridiculous. No, that should be on the low end, because a lot of, even though it is quick, but if you know you're fighting somebody with a dagger, you're going to try to space better. So, you know what weapon they have, because, like, it's tiny, right? So I will say, like, I would be lowering each one of these. Mailbreaker should be on the low, definitely.
Well, I can't believe they put it above the Harp. The Harp is something that has the quick step weapon art. It does shield chipping, and it's quite useful on, say, an infused build like a Sorcerer or a Pyromancer or a Cleric, because I've seen people use that to great effect. Like, you've seen KH Knight use that on his
I agree with 100%. It's definitely higher than the Mailbreaker. Like, that's... I will say, daggers, I feel like they were like, no one uses them. No one will even care about daggers. I care, okay? Daggers matter, okay? Hashtag. What the hell? It's ridiculous.
Hashtag daggers.
Yeah, I don't know.
Then, of course, regular dagger in there. See, and they put the parrying dagger in low tier, but I reckon the parrying dagger has more use just for the fact that it's a parrying tool.
And now I've used parrying dagger, and in that video, I also did get some parries, but it is hard. Okay, so I will say that much. I mean, I don't know. I will say the parrying dagger at least has some more use. So maybe you can give that more points. It is bad though. I mean, the problem is like its damage is so much lower where if you don't get a parry, you know, it's tough. I don't know. So like I sort of agree, but I can understand you disagreeing only because it does have the parrying. But now
I think the way that they've done the list is they're using it as if this is your main weapon in the fight. You're not switching weapons. You're not using other things.
Hey,
whereas,
that's how I use
like I
them.
said, yeah, that's what I was saying. I'd put it higher because I see it as a parry tool. Like the case stuff later on the other side is quite low, but like 90% of builds use one of these. Just the fact that it's blessed and you can parry, and the start frame's really good. But I guess the 1v1 duels, it makes sense.
I mean, well, so let's continue this discussion as if it's just your main weapon to limit confusion, and then maybe if there are certain weapons that are special like the cestas, you know, mention that offhand, because like a dagger's offhand with mage builds pretty decent. I mean, if somebody gets close to you, you swipe them a few times, they back up, you can do something. So I like that that aspect of it. I have tried to see people use parrying dagger as an offhand parrying tool, but it's bad. I don't know, like I haven't seen it work well, so I don't know. So daggers, at least for me, my final thought on daggers is that they all should be basically placed one tier lower, and some of them are misplaced in the tiers themselves. So, I mean, that's what I think about the daggers.
Yeah, I think I could see Corvian Great Knife still in high tier, but everything else I think I can agree with going down. Like even Scholar's Candlestick. Some people have said that this thing is amazing, they get wonderful things with it, but I think it's terrible. Like, it only has one use, and that's obviously just as like a damage buff.
Yeah, it's not that great, but I mean, I guess if you use it like the others, because you're not using the R2 anyway on daggers, so in that sense, I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. This is, I mean, does have the stabby though. Stabby's all okay for roll punish.
It still looks slow.
It's super tiny. That's the biggest issue. Either way.
Okay. So do you want to move on to straight swords?
Yeah, let's move on to straight swords. I do have some things to say about the straight sword here. There's a few of them I'm a little confused, but let's go ahead. Let's see what your thoughts are first.
Okay, so starting with top tier, we've got the longsword and the Lothric Knight Sword. I think it's quite obvious why they're there. They've got the shield splitting weapon art. They've obviously got that hyper armor on the weapon art R2, which can even go through most great swords. The reach is absolutely fantastic, and of course, paired with a shield, this is one of the top tier weapons, especially Lothric Knight Sword with that reach. Like, it wins tournaments.
I agree. I mean, I feel like with the shield, it's definitely, you know, top tier. Without a shield, it's still, you know, higher up there. It's still high tier. You know, that's how good these weapons are. Even without a shield, it's still devastating, or can be.
Well, yeah, and especially longsword, Lothric Knight Sword, they have the 3-hit combo where you get your 2 and then you catch the panic roll of the R2. Yeah. So it's good damage. You can have a parry tool in the offhand as well. I mean, I know we're not rating them by like the backup weapons, but the fact that the playstyle that you can use them to just outspace things. It's a completely reactive weapon. It's one of the best in the game for it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I don't agree with the 3-hit combo. I agree with that against people who don't know. But if you know something, like if you're in a tournament setting, at least me, you know, you don't get hit by it. At least not the poke.
I've seen questionable things in tournaments. I've seen someone land... I've seen 2 of the best players on PlayStation 4 go at it, and one of them actually win by doing this. And the other guy just did not expect him to keep going. Yes. And
well, that's actually... That's a high tier. Spamming is actually... it's high and low tier. You know, attack mode. Like that,
people expect you to stop after
exactly.
seconds.
So it's the mind games I love about Dark Souls right there. And sometimes if you think you have a person who's trying to be aggressive, if you spam them, burst.
Yeah.
You win. Like, it's all about reading your opponent, and if that worked on them, then they deserve to lose.
At the same time, the distance we're at now, I've been caught by the R2 thrust from this distance.
Yeah, but
latency
you also
is
live
low.
on an island with bad, murky internet, so I don't know.
It's happened to me with people on good connections also in the UK. Like, I remember the first time I played Solus, he managed to catch me with an R2 from about there, and he was within fire surge range. It was the first time I'd ever fought him. It was before I'd even learned to 1v1 properly.
Yeah.
It was rage infuriating. It was like I came so close to beating the guy who just won the PC tournament, and he just murked me.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's the thing. Like, even you've described it as in your body is not where you are, but where you used to be because of the latency. So that's why the roll catching works. It is interesting though. I would, even though I agree that the Lothric Knight Sword would be top tier, I really do disagree that the longsword is, because it is slightly different. I mean, it's slightly, I guess, not as long. Fun fact.
It's only barely shorter.
Yeah.
And it's also when you're heavy infused, it does more damage now than quality. So it is absolutely an amazing backup for, say, one of my builds. I'm using the XL Greatsword, highest AR currently in the game, can 3-shot anyone. But then you're playing someone who's completely reactive, and there's nothing you can do. I can actually switch on the same build to a heavy longsword and the Black Knight Shield, and still have less weight. So it's just an amazing switch.
I can definitely see that. I can definitely see that. I mean, the reason why I disagree is because the weapon I'm holding right now, which is the Ring Knight Straight Sword, which I cannot believe they put in this game, especially with this weapon art, I think is better. I actually think, at least right now, I actually think it's the best straight sword. And
I think it's longer as well.
Oh, it is.
But
I checked it.
The difference is it doesn't have the shield breaking weapon art.
Yeah, which is, for me, fine, because its weapon art is replaced by something I think in most matches is better. I mean, look at it. It basically doubles the length of the sword. I can do that fast, and it's a 4-hit every time. If you hit on the first one, 4 hits.
Actually, if you delay the 5th hit, we'll roll catch.
Yes, exactly.
I just did that just before we came here.
Yep.
I caught some of the 4 hits. He then rolled at me with Greatsword, and I just delayed that last
little,
spin. So I was like that, and then he came and it was like, bam, unlocked him, roll catch.
Yep. And it has hyper armor, which is disgusting. I can't believe it. I don't understand. Like, they added hyper armor to the R1. That's why I think this is the best, at least for right now, straight sword. And I used it, and I didn't lose at all. I haven't lost with it yet. I did 15, 16 fights, whatever, and I was playing poorly because I haven't used straight swords in a little bit. I was playing badly from a weapon I've never used, and I obliterated everybody, and I was basically mostly doing weapon art because I was just testing out the weapon, right? It's disgusting. I mean, like,
it's bigger than a great sword.
It's like, all right, so, you know, I'm coming after you here, and then it's like, you didn't see that was happening, but I can keep swinging because you can't do anything about it because I have hyper armor. And it doesn't even, the full combo there, the 5 hits, that doesn't even take, it takes barely more than half your stamina if you have 40 endurance. Like, what the hell? What are they doing? And that's only 1/2 of the weapon art, man. The other half is incredible roll catch. So, like, I get in your face and you're like, oh, what am I going to do? Then I do this. You get scared. And I actually got lucky hitting you there. But if you roll away.
I thought I was behind you.
Yeah, if you roll away, it's, like, going to hit you almost certainly. It's incredible. I don't understand. And you have hyper armor. You have hyper armor on that. Like, so you can just, for that last little bit of damage, you just go a little bit farther away. You do it because it has crazy range, and I don't know, man. At least for right now, I think it is the best one because of its variety of moveset and basically the trickery you can do with somebody. I mean, the Lothric Knight is obviously great, and Longsword is great, and a lot of these other straight swords have very similar attacks. It's just the fact that, like, they are more basic in their attack variety, and this one, with the hyper armor and with the range, I think it's, personally, I would put it top tier, like, definitely.
Yeah, there's actually a very brief weakness to it as well. Between the second and third hit of the weapon art, you're actually open to an attack where you don't have hyper armor. Like what I've been doing on my Pyromancer is I've actually been walking in after the first two swings and just hitting them with Black Flame.
Oh, no.
There's a very very brief opening there.
Oh. Okay, that's good. I like to know know those things. That's pretty good. I can see that.
That is just my timing, and even then I wasn't quite prepared for it, and I still caught it. But it's risky. It's very risky. Like, I first do it with a hyper armor weapon because, again, on a straight sword, if I miss it, you're going to hyper armor and hit me. But then again, on Black Flame or a great sword, even if I just miss the timing, I'm going to interrupt you before you damage me. So,
all right. I mean,
it's a small window. It's a very small window. You saw how close I had to get to do that as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing that was interesting with that though is like when you're playing bigger weapons, you're not going to try to hyper arm them, regardless. Like that's not how you play against bigger weapons, unless you have one yourself. You think that will outdamage.
Yeah, against bigger weapons, you're just going to be doing this until you can get a backstab. Like that's all I do. Is even if you're locked on, eventually you can get round them and backstab them.
But what do you think about like the dark sword?
I've always thought that was overrated. Now it's a good weapon. It roll catches quite nicely, but I've never thought it was top tier.
I agree with
second you. Because the R2 wasn't as good. The stomp skill was trash.
Yeah, it's just an R1 weapon.
Attack frame nerf.
It's literally an R1.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the weapon is the R1. So I 100% agree with you. I would even hazard to say that I wouldn't even put it top or high tier. That's
I still think
iffy
because of how successful it is on speed. The fact that it's a straight sword alone and the reach, you're always going to be able to just with R1s beat most other weapons. That's why it's there. Like you find someone using an ultra, you're going to be able to outspace them. Just be like, bam, one chip.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think
you'll win.
I think for the most part though, if you're fighting somebody, like let's say you're fighting yourself. And yourself has one of these other weapons with more move sets, I think those weapons will win, which I would put this in a lower than the other. At least in the high tier, I would put this lower than the other swords there.
Maybe, but sometimes less is more. Like the fact is, if I'm trying to think when can I get an opening to get my weapon art, so I'm trying to do all sorts of plays. We're blocking, we're fighting. I'm trying to think, okay, maybe I can get the weapon art here, maybe I can get the weapon art there. But you're not thinking about that at all. You just like, all I need to do is wap 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 wap, and then you get out, and then I'm thinking, oh damn, how do I get in? When will I use the weapon art? When should I switch? And then you don't give a fuck. You just walk in like bop 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 bop.
I can see that, but I mean,
I think it even has that mentality advantage because you don't need to think. It is a brainless R1 weapon. I think that's why it will be high tier.
I think you have a point there. But again, you know, maybe it's just me looking at the more advanced usage of these weapons. You know, more in like tournament settings and such.
The fact that I would definitely put below the Lothric Knight, so I'd definitely put below the Longsword. I'm surprised to see it below the same tier as the Broadsword, but even in this, they've put the Ring Knight straight sword above the Dark Sword, so I can agree with that.
I mean, like I said, that's one I think should be higher. I'm Henri. I mean, the problem with a lot of these straight swords is they're basically the same exact damn thing, except they have like bleed or ice or whatever.
Yeah. Well, Henri's is going to be in there because luck build. It regens your health, your damage is on luck, and you can do a luck strength build and Dark Moonblade it, or a luck faith build with Dark Moonblade, and it does absurd damage. Before they nerfed it, I think I was using that with Dark Moonblade or Blessed or something, and I was just regenning health like crazy amounts, just doing obscene damage.
Alright, so I mean they got the
Sunlight straight sword,
Sunlight straight sword.
Again, it's all the same stuff there.
Sunlight does buff your damage and defense, which, I mean, granted, you're losing the weapon art, shield, break, and the other one. So I can see why it's good and bad. I mean, it depends on how you play, right? So I think if you're mostly using a shield, and especially like the Lothric Knight shield, which you can parry with, and it has, what, 64, I think, what is it, stamina thing. I don't know, like it's funny because like a lot of these seem like they're very close, but almost it's like depending on how you use them. Like obviously, I'm not gonna use the weapon art on the Sunlight Straight Sword because it doesn't have the weapon art like the other swords. You know, it's for a buff. So you're gonna be playing differently. Yeah, you're gonna be using these anyway. So I mean, I don't know. I think really a lot of these, at least in the high tier, they're all basically the same damn thing. Except Dark Sword is a little bit different.
Yeah, in the mid tier, one I'm surprised to see is the Lorien one. You would have thought because of the weapon art, it would be higher than that. It's one of the favorite weapons of the Japanese invaders because the fact that it's got that straight sort of R1 mash, and if people run off the hill, it's got a crazy hitbox on the weapon art. It's obscene.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what they put only because, I mean, if you've played that weapon a few times, even though I hate it and I still get hit by it, like, you can get out of it. It's not, like, that much damaging and that much disturbing damage that where it's going to be like, oh, if I get hit by that, I've lost the match. No, you can come back from that. But Morion Blade,
I can see that.
The Morion Blade is interesting here. I don't know, something about, like, I like the fact that it has, like, a comeback mechanic built inside the weapon. So, generally, if you hit somebody, like, you always try to go for the 3-hit combo. Now, me, I always try to wait a little bit because I always think people are better than they are. So I wait a little bit on the R2, and a lot of times people try to parry and do stuff like that. So with the Morion Blade, if you're losing badly, I feel like you can come back pretty decently because it is this quick, and especially if you have a shield, you can wait for your spot to open up. So I'm a little I'm a little shocked that this isn't also with the other straight swords in the high tier.
I guess it's just its basic damage is quite low, and by the time you get into the comeback mechanic range, like as you call it, you're probably going to get one shot anyway. Like I've seen people who are like, oh, but I use this and this build and I can do 1300 AR. It's like, yeah, but you get hit by a throwing bomb and you're done. So
I can see that. Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. Straight or short sword, I agree.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just
I'm
short.
surprised they put the Astora straight sword so low because I've used that on a whatchamacallit, a raw build and used it as buff on casters. Like even on my 125 pyromancer, I always have that straight sword on me in case I get something that's fire resistant. So I can do PvE.
Yeah, it doesn't seem. I'm actually surprised with you with that because although it does seem a little bit short. But I don't know why. I mean, unless the base damage is that much lower, which I'm not completely positive about.
Well, again, I've only used it on raw until like +7. I think out damages every other like sword in the class.
So it's good for PvE, but PvP, other things are probably just better.
I guess it's good for low level PvE. Low tier, then of course I put the Cleric's Candlestick and the Broken Straight Sword. And do we really need to discuss those? Because I think that's deserving.
Well, I'm actually surprised that the Broken Straight Sword isn't in bad tier because of how short.
The speed, man. Like if you remember Dark Souls 2, people did whole runs with the Broken Straight Sword, proving it was more mechanics than anything else. But again, the speed of it is, it's really short, but it's still a straight sword moveset.
It's
like,
so
I can't
short.
See anything with that moveset.
The R2 is cool. I mean, here's the thing. Now, I've actually fought with this weapon. Almost significant amounts. In fact, I have this weapon so many times, I have a broken straight sword. That's how much I love this weapon, okay? I broke one because I thought it was fun. So, now, the obvious thing that this thing has is, you know, it's just a straight sword moveset, more really like broadsword, right? Because the R2 is this, but, it's stamina usage. People don't think they're like, oh, he's swinging. Oh, there's 10 times, 12, 14. It's like, I don't stop, you know? It doesn't stop. You just keep going because the stamina usage is awesome. But other than that, like, even if I hit you, like, watch, let me hit you, and then, look at that, 98 damage. And this is a +10. I have a +10, and it's 98 damage. Like, that's why I think it's bad tier, because it's like a dagger, but slower and shorter. So that I would put that in bad tier. That's, to me, that's enough for it. Because, again, even though you can hit somebody...
It's a tier below daggers.
Yeah, I still agree that it should be bad tier though. I mean, because
Okay.
again, I think all daggers should be down 1, and I think this should be down. This should be bad tier. Because again, granted, I can go there and I can hit you. You know, I can hit you 5, 10. What do I have to hit you? What is your health? Like 1600 or something like that?
It's 1800.
18. So I have to hit you at least 18 times. Like, honestly,
Yeah,
are
no,
you
I
that
can
bad of a
understand
player
that.
that you're just going to sit there and get hit 18? No, I mean, that's the thing. Like, and I've done it, and I'm not saying I can't do it, but I'm saying the difficulty and degree of difficulty of that is so much higher than all these other weapons that I think it should be bad tier. That's just my
Well,
opinion.
you got to remember the way that they define the tiers is. I agree that a lot of things still seem too high, but if the way you look at how they define bad tier, it's weapons that are inferior to others in the class, downgrades or weak gimmicks. These weapons require much out of the player to achieve success and investment or skill, whereas bad tier is weapons that are just irredeemably bad, weapons with nothing but style, weapons that cause pity. So...
It does have style. It does cause pity. I will say this.
Okay.
Maybe I'll make my own list where I put more tiers because it's not quite how they're saying the bad tier is, but I would put it lower versus these other
I definitely
weapons.
feel there's way too much at the top here. There's no way that I'd have this many weapons in there. Okay, so axes. Nothing in top tier, which honestly I agree with. It's completely trash compared to longswords, but they do have stuff in high tier. So
and I was actually extremely happy that they put what I thought was one of, if not the most underrated weapon in the game in the high tier, which is the Man Serpent Hatchet. I think this weapon is awesome. I'm shocked that no one uses it. It's great. It's I don't know. The range on this thing, I mean, I don't know about the damage itself, but the range on this thing is disgusting. Look at that.
Oh yes.
Look at that. That's so ridiculous. Now, of course, I'm trying to stretch the range out as far as I can here, but and the roll catches on axes are one of, if not the best in the game. They're so good.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. You got that first swing. You're just like, no.
I mean, granted, I do know how to use axes. Well, this axe especially. I love this, and I'm a little surprised that the butcher's knife isn't in the same exact tier as the Man Serpent, because they're essentially the same damn thing. I think butcher's knife might even be. Oh, you think that's what did it? I think butcher's knife actually is longer though.
Them. I still think the chipping, the fact that against the butcher's knife, that's the difference. Like, oh damn!
I like that. I am surprised that they put that there because again, that's what gave this credibility to me. Like a lot of this, I'm like, oh, that's just what they think. They didn't really try it out or whatever. It was like this made me give them credibility, thinking, oh, maybe this list isn't that terrible, right? Because they put that up there. I was pretty impressed.
I'd say everything that you can do with the Man Serpent Hatchet, you'll do better than you'll do with the Butcher's Knife. Even on Reach, I think, it's just outclassed by it.
I don't know about Reach, but that I would like to see somebody test that out. I don't know how the hell to test that out like accurately, but I don't know. Either they're the same. They might just be the same. I don't know. I'm not sure. But the one that they basically gave the front runner is the Millwood. And I've had issues with this weapon because just trying to get away from that stomp, you have to be already so far away and they have to start it. But
there's a way to do it.
Is there a close up? I mean, without a shield?
Yeah. Oh, no. You need something you block with. But even if you block with a weapon, so if you're two-handing your weapon, it stops it. So
how much stamina does that take away from you?
Nothing.
Oh,
do it again,
that I didn't know.
Yeah, nothing. It does no stamina damage.
Okay, so that's sort of like a safety net, because otherwise, if it took away stamina, it'd probably be much more ridiculous. Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
But yeah.
All right.
The amount, when I was first using that, when it first came out, I was getting so much complaints from people sending me hate mail saying it's OP and stuff. And I've done videos where I've specifically gone out to get hate mail, throwing dung pies, using every single tactic, nothing. But I used that, and people were like, oh, that's so OP, you're cheating, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, bro, block. just block.
last time and this is a weapon you don't face often, but last time I faced this weapon, the range, I was surprised you were able to get that, to be honest. Wow. Okay.
You gotta know the timing for it. It's like the same with Fire Surge. I can do a constant stream of Fire Surge, and if you know when the ticks are, you know when to avoid it. And depending on your angle, you can also roll out before a hit. But yeah, it's funny.
What's crazy is, like, one thing I just noticed now using it is you basically get your stamina back as you're running.
Yeah,
doing the weapon up.
That's pretty good.
That's ridiculous. I didn't realize that. That makes this weapon even a little bit better than I expected. I personally would still choose the Serpent because this is a little short, but almost all axes have crazy roll punish range, man. Crazy. Yeah. And that's what makes them better than people expect. I mean, I've seen people use buffed up, what is it? Buffed up Dragon Slayer axe, you know, with lightning, and the amount of damage you can do with this weapon is pretty disgusting. Actually,
on a heavy build now as well, a heavy faith build, that is ridiculous since they buffed infusions. It does obscene damage, it really does. But they put every other axe in mid tier. They've pretty much said every axe is mid tier, except for Man Sergeant Habit and Milled Battle Axe, which is high tier.
I mean, what do you think about the what is it? I forget the name. The Thrall axe. Do you think that should be mid tier?
See, I actually think the Thrall axe is hilarious. Like, I've done an Iron Flesh build. I've used it as a backup weapon, Dark Infused on my Pyromancer, and I think the Quick Step is absolutely beautiful on it. But again, I'm not sure that I would ever dream of putting that in high tier. Like, I know the Thrall axe also has crazy roll catch. Like, the range on it is so deceptive. Like, it's not what you think. I've just R1 mashed a roll catch people before.
And people put Dark Infusions on it. I've seen that a lot. You know, the damage can be pretty disgusting. And again, for some reason, all axes have crazy roll catching potential. So that's one thing that weapon has also. Because you got to be close to hit him anyway. So if you're that close, it still can roll catch pretty good. Because it's happened to me a lot. Because people, when when this game first came out, that weapon was one of the weapons a lot of people like to use and try to troll around with. But, you know, a shield is pretty brutal against that. And, of course, if you know the timings of the quick step, that's obviously going to break it apart. But still, I mean, the damage, the quickness, and the versatility of it, I think, is a little bit higher. I was thinking maybe that would be high tier, maybe. But that one I'm a little bit iffy. I'm not sure.
See, I wouldn't put it high tier. It's good, but, again... it's questionable. It's very build dependent, I think. In a straight up 40-40 quality, it's nothing special. But it's when you then start thinking about infusions, chip damage, and all sorts of stuff like that. Maybe, but again, compare it to every other class. I don't see it competing on the same level.
I will say I disagree. I would basically put, other than the Butcher's Knife, the Hand Axe, possibly Dragon Slayers, and Eleonora, I'd put the other ones in low tier. I just think
actually no, I can agree with moving the rest down. I was talking against moving anything up.
Definitely.
Yeah, the rest, I'd shovel that down a tier. There's no questions about that.
Yeah, because there's just better options out there, especially if it has basically the same moveset and if more range and being able to hit somebody. Like I always say, that's way better than doing more damage. I mean, that's the thing. All right, I think we're done with the axes. We only got 30 more to go.
Yeah, now it's the big contender, the big contenders, which is curved swords.
Curved swords, which I'm already interested in what they try to do here. Maybe
there's also a note on the side before we go through that as well. It's to say, assuming on a pyromancy build they're using Fire Surge, put the Demon Scar to the top of the curved sword tier list. Which I completely agree. I think that weapon is absolutely fantastic, and I did a video already saying that I think this is meta changing. I think this puts pyromancy in the running for the meta, but not at the top. But
the top of the heap.
These guys are flat out saying with Fire Surge is the best curved sword. But their second one they're saying is the Pontiff Knight curved sword, and there's a reason for it, but it still seems questionable. Basically, the Carthage curved sword and Follow Saber got an active frame nerf, Whereas the Pontiff Knight Curve Sword, I don't think got affected by that, and it also got a weapon art buff. So on both spins, it now does the Ethereal Blade thing.
Okay. That is interesting. I will say, even though they put it up there, I don't think
But check out the weapon art.
I don't think the nerf. I don't know. Can I do it? No, I
requirements.
can't do it. Right?
Yeah, you don't have the requirements. But basically, both spins now, basically summons. Oh yeah, you can.
Okay. All right. Huh. Yeah, having bolt spins is a big deal. I still think. I still think. Karthus
I think
is
it's
better,
also
though.
longer than the Karthus. Do I have one on me? I do not.
But, I mean, I have it. We'll see. Let's see. All right, so check that out. Versus, yeah, check out my size, bro.
Yeah, okay.
Check that
I
out
lined
versus...
up with the tip of my sword.
See, this one's more
It's
curved, so you don't know.
Yeah,
actually.
it's hard to tell.
Maybe
I
similar.
Think yeah, I think they might be similar, but I think the Karthus probably. See, I think because of the attack frame nerf is probably what moved that above the Karthus and the Follower Saber, because now you can't R1 mash to roll catch, but it still has the spacing. Like, I still see that being a top tier weapon.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think they put too much into that nerf. Than there is. There's certain applications where that nerf is obviously can be devastating, but you can play around the nerf, which I find interesting. You don't have to do that common Karthus thing that everybody does. I mean, the running attack is still there. The running attack versus R1 after is still there. Like,
yeah, it's still got the speed.
So that was, and it still, still has bleed, even though bleed was slightly, by the way, was it 2 points nerf down? Like,
no, it's quite big. I think Karthus with Karthus Rouge, like, okay, Karthus just quality, you won't proc bleed before you kill someone, because it just will never come up before you do it.
Yeah.
I think it takes 6 or 7 hits with Karthus Rouge to bleed someone, and on a bleed build specifically, so on a bleed luck build, it takes 4 hits to proc bleed, but even then the damage is so low it's not worth it.
Well, let's see.
Wail on me.
I'll kill you. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what
I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know, because like I'm looking at it and it says 30 on the bleed, which I think it was 32 before, or was it 34? So I was like, that's not a big difference.
But yeah, they nerfed it on the Karthus and they nerfed Karthus Rouge. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So now shields actually can mean something again against Karthus.
Yeah. Or the fact that you could always just roll through bleed. Like, a good player knows.
Oh
when
yeah.
to do it. Like,
yep. Definitely.
But
But
to be fair, I often mess that up. I'm not a good player.
well, no. I mean, like in the heat of the moment, sometimes you mess up. No one's perfect that often, right? They also, what they put here, the falchion. Why did they put the falchion up here?
Because
Maybe you can tell me.
It wasn't affected by the nerf at all. That's quite simply the reason. It's fairly low stat investment. It's really good on a caster, especially in Fuse. Like, before I got the Demon Sky, I used to use that in my invasion build, because I used to just throw dark on that, and it's curve sword, man. Curve sword is curve sword.
Yeah, but I mean, based on the thing, they put it in front of the Karthus. I don't agree with this. I just think, like...
Oh, no, it's below Karthus on it. Because it's Follow Saber, Karthus...
oh, I'm sorry. I read FS as Falchion Sword.
No, that's Follow Saber.
Yeah, no, okay.
Yeah,
I see a
Saber,
Falchion
Karthus,
under it. Okay, I got you.
Then, of course, the Karthus Shotel, then the Falchion.
Yeah, I would put that lower, though. I just think it's strictly not as good as those, personally.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not as good as those, but what they're saying is it's still better than the Storm Ruler, the Rue Curve Sword, the Scimitar, and the Shotel, and the... But then again, in the next tier, because we're going down one now, because we've covered that, they've put the Painted Guardian Curve Sword in mid-tier, which is insane because it has an infinite combo that once you start, the person can't get out of before you kill them.
I'm interested in this, because I don't know about this combo.
It's basically L2, 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 L2. Yeah, I can't get out of this.
No way.
Keep going and... Yeah, I'm like, okay, you can hear me here and roll from my mic. Oh my god, I was so lucky those days. Yeah, you can't get out of that. It's been like that for a few patches.
Truly didn't know that.
See,
Really?
what everyone did was the moment the patch hit, the people were poisoned and bleed infusing that because it's also got bleed. And the thing is, you can't get out of it. Like the moment that starts, you're done.
Holy crap! That's never happened to me. I've never seen it. That is interesting. Huh? Wow.
The cheese is real.
That
It's been
is
like that for
weird.
a while. People have only just started to realize like that happened. I think around the last DLC, but no one seemed to notice.
And it's
But
still.
yeah, now.
Can you still not get out even when I have no juice left? What? No way. That's absurd, man. Yeah, you put bleed on that, and they're bled at least twice, probably, or once.
Yeah.
Like that is crazy. I mean, wow. I mean, now that I know, I'm definitely gonna be looking out for this dumbass weapon. Holy crap!
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. The first time I saw that, it was in a 2v2. I had the other guy to one shot, and I just turned to go to hit his partner, and then he caught me in the back, and he just started going and going and
He was
going.
the Energizer Bunny.
He was just about to kill me because you can finish the combo with the R2, and he was about to kill me, but luckily my teammate threw a bomb and killed him. I was just like, oh my god.
Wow.
Oh my god.
That is crazy. I mean, granted, if you know what you're fighting against, I still don't think it should be higher, but because it's too short. Although
one mistake.
Yeah. I mean, I have seen people basically use it with their connection effectively, which is strange to say. So they knew that their connection was, I was from the U.S., they were from wherever, not from the U.S., and they knew because of that fact, they were able to get a lot of hits they really shouldn't have got. And I thought that was like a weird, interesting thing that, like, this guy was good at this weapon because he knew his connection wasn't the greatest against, like, U.S. people. So he was able to hit me from so far away. Running attack and all this stuff, and I was like, how the hell? And I'm talking, like, we're talking Karthus range here. Like, we're talking, it's like every other.
On his screen, you might have been this close to him.
Yeah, I know.
Whereas on your screen, you're this far, so.
But, like, he was telling me about
really
it.
that good, or if he was just playing it. Oh, we'll see. Okay.
I just think I mean, he straight up told me. But I don't know. Maybe he's trolling me. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I agree that this should be low, like it is, or at least lower than the others. Yeah, Pontiff up there on the top is interesting. But so that's
that's caused some controversy.
Shodal over the Crescent Moon, huh? I like the Crescent Moon, but it's just not as good. I mean, the weapon art it's sad. Really. Although
I
they
think
did
the fact
buff
that
it,
you
didn't
have
they?
to play it on an int build is the fact that it got moved so far down because everyone agrees that it's trash.
They did upgrade the weapon art of this, or was it not this one?
Yeah, they sped it up, I think.
Yeah, it still needs more speed, to be honest.
Yeah, and there's also the whatchamacallit, Moonlight Greatsword, but yeah, it's just not good.
Yeah, it's alright, well, I guess that's it for curved swords, although I still think Karthus should be up. I'm fine with the followers high tier. I didn't think that was as good as Karthus, just based on range, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I'm surprised if they put it above Karthus in the list as well, because it's not got range. I guess they're overestimating the weapon art.
Yeah, again, it's like if you fought the weapon art before, you know what you're looking for. It's like, maybe on first time basis, some of these are better than others, but like, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, so spears and pikes.
Spears and pikes. There's only like 3 pikes in the game, I think. But
now, see, for this annoys me in general. Now, I do think Gargle Flame Spear is good, but I think spears are all a tier too high.
Okay, yeah, let's look at this. Now, I will already, I agree with you that, what? Why would they put that? Okay, that's confusing. What they put as the second best spear is not the second best spear. That's crazy.
What, the 4-pronged plow?
Yeah, I like the plow. It's not that good. It's
amazing.
It's not that good, man.
I saw someone nearly fall a score brand in the King of the Keep with the 4-pronged plow, but using a farmer cosplay. The reach on it and the speed is actually really, really good.
I agree that it's fun. It's fine, but it's not better than the Dragon Slayer spear. That's absurd to me. That is absurd.
Oh,
You're kidding me. And I'm also very shocked that the Dragon Slayer or Sword Spear is a tier lower. I am shocked. That is, I am shocked. I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense to me.
Reach is mostly why. It's the Gargoyle Flame Spear just outreaches them so much that it's not in the same tier as the other ones.
You alter your playstyle versus what it is. So that has hyper armor, and you understand that. You have to get close anyway, but it has the running attack, which allows you to close the gap. I think that is probably third
it has hyper
best.
armor on the weapon art, I think.
That I'm not sure. You're probably not going to hit him anyway with that, but...
actually, do you have a spear? Because there's something quite interesting.
Yes, I do have the spear.
Spear's got a tracking nerf. So if you grab a spear, there's something I want to show you.
They got a nerf on tracking? They needed a buff on that. Are you kidding me? Oh, man.
See, now running attacks on that in itself is absolutely fine. But the problem that I have with all spears is if you two-hand that, is you can just run around them and backstab.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I don't like spears. You can also do it on running attacks. Like, if you go for a running attack, you can actually just run around that, and yeah, every time.
Yeah.
But that's why I would put spears all one below where they are. Look, I can just...
Yeah, no,
actually circle you
I agree. And also, it's... I'm not sure if you can... You might be able to reaction parry an R1 of a spear with Cestus. You might be able to do that. I know they're slow enough to where someone... Like, I've been parried before.
People put rapiers down because they say they're easy to parry. So if rapiers are easy to parry, then spears are easy to parry.
Yeah. So, I mean, I will say again, you know, I disagree with this weapon being that high than it is. Whether or not the Gargoyle Flame Spear is top tier, I don't agree. I do agree with you as in there shouldn't be a top tier spear here.
No.
There should not be.
The Gargoyle Flame Spear is clearly a cut above all the rest, but I don't see spears being the top. They're good for people that know what they're doing. Like I've seen Dimitri, who's absolutely amazing with Gargoyle Flame Spear. For the whole fight, he'll just be doing this, and he'll never attack. If you come near him, he'll run away, and he'll just keep doing this. And the moment you've whiffed an attack, he'll just get one running attack, and then he'll go back to running away. And he will play for a good half an hour like that. And yeah, that's playstyle more than weapon.
Yeah. Alright, so one thing I want to go through real quick is like, alright, so I can agree that Gargoyle Flame Spear is at least top 3 of the spears. I would say Dragon Slayer Spear, that one's a little iffy. That might be third for me, but Dragon Slayer Sword Spear, I don't know. And also Partisan got a buff now with the weapon art. I think Partisan is better.
Sword Spear is so low.
I am shocked. Like I think the Partisan is better than the 4-prong plow. I think it's better. Actually, I think the Partisan is better than most spears actually, because they are 2, and now that the weapon art has hyper armor, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm a little confused on the spears.
Well, even before the buff, I remember one tournament. I can't remember if it was Subway Sandwich or Dramatic, but one of the two lads, they came in with that and they absolutely flattened someone's casters because they had this big combo. I can't even remember what they did, but I saw them pretty much flawless them with one combo. Yeah, it's the fact that that weapon art is absolutely amazing. Same as the Black Knight Glaive.
Yeah, some of these I think, like the Yorm Spear, I would consider putting. Or, I'm sorry, Yorm. No, it's the, what the hell's the damn name? The stupid weapon art that's just like, although it did get a buff. Yorshka, sorry, Yorshka Spear.
Oh, Yorshka, yeah.
Although that weapon art did get a buff.
That's right in the bottom tier, yeah, they put that in low tier. That's
I would even consider putting that lower. That and the Followers Javelin, Jaber. Followers Javelin, I would also put lower. Again, I would add another tier that isn't such a joke tier, but I thought that's what the You Died tier was the and obviously the most egregious act they put is there. I mean, I would say there's a god tier. There is a god tier, right? It's above this whole list. You can't see it, but I think they must have screwed up or something, because we got the brand, the soldering iron, ladies and gentlemen. What the hell is it doing down there? This is so weird. This
I
is
get
demented.
flashbacks to you flawlessing Divine Beamfall with that.
I mean, you're talking about a weapon that practically takes away your Estus. I mean, it makes it worthless, right? It brands you to the point where everyone can see that you're already defeated before you died. I mean, look at this. Look at your body right now. You are scalded, and you are just... Everyone can see that you're worthless right now. And it's crazy. Boom. I will say one thing about this, which is sad, is that it has standard attack. Why doesn't it have thrust? What the hell are they doing with this weapon? Give it thrust. Give it a chance. Jesus Christ.
Honestly,
Man.
I think that what that should do is, I think that should stop all Estus healing and miracle healing. If it did that, it would have a use. Like, that would be its gimmick, is no healing. Like, even if it stopped blessed regen as well.
Yeah. What if it was like a hunter's charm or whatever? Or if it was basically, what the hell is the other one? The other one that does any buffs?
Oh, Duelist Charm.
Yeah, duelist. Like, what if it was just a duelist charm on hit or on special hit or something?
I think it should have the Hunter's Charm effect on hit. Like, yeah, I think the moment someone's got that brand on there, look at it. But yeah, I think the moment they've got that brand on, they should be able to heal.
By the way, that's for life. I don't know if you guys noticed, but that's for life. Now, every time you play the game, you have that on you forever.
Does that mean I have to throw this armor away?
Yes. Actually, if you use the ring knight, it might actually look kind of cool because it looks like your chest is glowing already.
Unfortunately, that's the only chest I didn't have. But yeah, everything else in spears, I don't know. Dragon Slayer Sword Spear, absolutely questionable. I do think that since the poise buff, all halberds got nerfed like crazy. You need like what 41 poise to be able to tank a hit. And the most efficient build I found for the Dragon Slayer Sword Spear was a Dex Faith build. But yeah, I can't get the poise high enough to even trade with it, so I'm using it as a spear. So.
And I just want to mention one thing, a weapon that, ever since it got brought back, basically, from the depths of hell, I've brought it back, and I haven't lost yet using it. Can you guess what weapon this is?
You're kidding me.
I have not lost yet with this weapon since they buffed it again. I have been running rampant.
I am looking forward to that video. I will be the first and only comment.
I mean, it's...
Really?
I have... Now, here's the thing. Now, when I first... Because I already did a video with this, and it was one of these weapons that...
No, I have to see this.
Like most weapons, I haven't really used that well. It has super range. You can obviously use it with... Oh, my rolling.
Actually, yeah, fix your rolling,
I don't need any of that rolling crap.
Okay.
That's how good this weapon is. Although you are using a shield, which is a problem. I'll say that much.
Oh.
There we go.
Goodness.
There we go. Look at that. I don't even have Leo ring or anything on. No! Stop! No! Oh, no. Oh, man. Oh, jeez. The R1 is real with that one. But, man, yeah, I gotta say, like, with this weapon, you know, although I will admit I hadn't used, like, a shield user like you were using it, and just basically fishing hardcore, but, and anybody, like, I would have did much better, obviously, if I didn't fat roll and whatever, but,
yeah, I think the fat rolling, obviously, there's nothing you can do there.
But, you know, it is much better, especially with the hyper armor, and even if you know they have hyper armor, there is a weird, even though the tracking isn't perfect, it's still better than people think it is. Basically, what you have to do is you have to take your left hand off of the controller, just completely, if you're doing R1s. Because if you touch anything while you do an R1 with that weapon, you will miss 100% of the time. So, like, that's the thing about the weapon.
R1 true combo into the weapon art?
That's actually something I haven't tried. I would say no, only because of how slow the weapon art startup time is, but that I'm not sure. I mean, we could try it in a second, but I am curious about that.
I put my son upside down. I went too far.
He's gone. Actually, it's cool because I get to get my Ashen Esses again, so that's fine.
It was something about me trying to block when I had no stamina that it tilted me.
Yeah. This with the Night Ring too against that. I wonder how much if it would have done like double stamina damage.
Oh no, it was I had no stamina after I did the weapon art anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the Hornet Ring, that could have been interesting. That was probably done.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, because you get through and you do massive damage. Because a lot of times, now again, one thing I don't like about this game is that I don't really know exactly when I'm getting counter damage hits because it doesn't make the sound.
Isn't there a thud sound?
The thud sound, as far as I've seen, is almost only or exclusively for jumping if you hit somebody. But I know I've gotten counter damage hits off of trading. So it's weird without the thud. I mean, like, I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, spears and pikes. I mean, I think the Great Lance is a lot better than it was. Even though it was barely buffed. I mean, it had some speed.
I almost feel like they didn't test it, right? Because
in the beginning, when they first made it, yeah, they definitely were like, yeah, you know, we're going to make the tracking the worst. It's going to be slow. It still eats up stamina like nothing.
It is in high tier. It is in high tier. I think we're underselling this. They've put it in high tier. They did. A lance in high tier. So.
Well, it's the only lance.
I think it's better than some of the other spears, if what you're saying is true. But at the same time, none of them are high tier, in my opinion. Maybe Gargle Flame Spear. The rest mid tier. Maybe it's the best of the mid tier. I don't know, but.
I agree that nothing should be top tier. I agree that. I definitely think though that high tier. I'm telling you, sword spear. I'm telling you, man, swords. I've seen people use the sword spear really well. There's a way to use it. You can't just go willy-nilly only trying to trade because there's the running attack. If you switch things up, you get close.
The sword spear, I think, is absolutely fantastic. It lost the high prime on two-handed, but I've got a regen build that I've used with the sword spear that I did ages ago, and I think it's fantastic.
I haven't used the. I haven't used the war banner.
No,
it just buffs yourself. Is that what it does?
Yeah.
Oh, and your friends, right?
Yeah. Maybe for team battles, this could have some use.
They put it in high or top tier or high tier.
It's just a standard spear, but they put way too many spears in high tier. I think they're really overestimating spears.
I agree with you. I mean, especially since like when you're using the spear, like he doesn't even use the whole stick to try to hit somebody. What is he doing? He could have like double the length on his damn weapon. All right, let's get out of spears and pikes. Let's go onward.
Okay. So yeah, what's next? Oh, katanas.
We got katanas.
Katanas. Okay, they've left the washing pole in high tier. Oh, sorry, top. Yeah, is it high tier or top tier that they call it? Top tier, yeah. Okay, before the nerf, yes, I would agree, but since they've nerfed the running attack, I'm not sure if I would put this.
Have you seen a significant dip in speed though? Like.
I've not lost to a washing pole since the patch, and that used to be my bane.
I wonder if that's because your connection. I wonder if your connection made you lose to the running attack because of how that works.
See, but it doesn't do it anymore to me. Oh, there's also something quite hilarious about it. If you just walk left, a lot of the hits don't track.
Oh, yep. That's most because the way they overshot the attack. But one thing that's interesting...
Oh, no, they sped up the R1s on all katanas, so the other ones actually now catch it. It's just that one doesn't on some of them.
Well, no, I mean, you can do it with... I've seen people just, like, stay slightly far away, and because you're swiping to the left over the top, they just go under. That's happened to me a lot, but, yeah. I mean, I'm not seeing a significant difference in the R1s, I think, or the running attack, to be honest.
That weapon for R1s. I actually think it takes longer to start up a little bit. Like, visually, it looks like it takes longer. Do you know how to buff the running R1s?
No.
Drop it for me a second, I'll show you.
Yeah, this guy's teaching me some things here. Whoop.
Basically, what you do is you hold L1, and the time between running attacks is actually shorter because of the guard. So with the washing pole, the way that it was normally used is you get someone to roll once, and then you just constantly keep running attacking them, and it buffers them because, you know, game's input, so you can do it quicker. Like, if I do a normal running attack, and then I go for another running attack, there's this much startup. If you're holding guard, the time between them is much, much shorter.
Oh, I see.
So
that's the trick with glaives, too. Start up with the R1s.
Glaives do that. So if we look at that one to then this one, compared to... It's
that's what people have been doing to me.
But it is significant, and especially when you start rolling, because of the reach, you're going to start rolling, they're going to be like, roll catch, roll catch, roll catch, and you're just going to be freaking out like, what's going on here?
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll give it back. But yeah, see, I've not lost to them since. Like, I find that I can actually now time roll between the thrusts, and it could just be the fact that I've been using Demon Scar now, so yeah, it's easier for me to attack and cast. So I don't know if it's the fact that I got a buff in a weapon and that got a slight nerf, or if people are just used to it at this point. But for me, I'd definitely say Washing Pole is the best of them, but I don't know if I'd put it right at the top.
I didn't know that if you just had fist out, the L2 does like a punch. Does this do more damage to your face? 128, huh? I'm curious.
Huh. Did not realize.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
Huh, the more you know.
Anyways.
Well, I know if you put a shield in your right hand, instead of a kick, you do a bump with the shield.
Oh, wow. Again, I've like never done that, so that's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, so if you...
Oh, that is cool. Huh.
We're getting sidetracked.
Yeah, I know. Anyways, we're on Washing Pole. Washing Pole they put on... man, I gotta say, they put it top tier. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just my playstyle. I've never really had a problem with katanas, like, at all. The only thing that I've ever had a problem was with the combo with Unikiri Ubadapeeps. That's the only thing.
Oh, that got nerfed like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if I get hit with that combo, obviously it's more than half my life. So that's like the only way I've really lost against a lot of these weapons, unless they run and literally only do the running attack the whole match, which I've had matches like that where it's like, come on, this is not fun. I want to go kill myself. But
that's why sometimes you need to carry a shield, because that shuts that noise down.
Yeah.
But then again, the Fade Blade is a good counter to shields now. So before Washing Pole katanas and all that, they were just hard countered by shields. What I've started seeing people doing is carrying the Fade Blade and the Washing Pole. So the Washing Pole in the left hand, Fade Blade in the right, or vice versa. And what they do is they switch between two-handing it. So what they do is they trick you with the weapon art. So like that with the Fade Blade, you think, okay, he's going to go for one of those weapon arts. You run into attack, but then you get parried because he's actually swapped to the Washing Pole.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Wow, the Fade Blade is actually pretty large.
Yeah, the chip damage is fantastic, and the weapon art ability where it shoots the black fire. I don't know if you've got the stats for it.
Yes.
It's actually really damaging.
I don't have the stats, but yes, it has hit me before. Yeah, I mean, I think the Washing Pole, and I wouldn't put it top tier. I just wouldn't put it top tier. Yeah. I would probably move down most of them one at least.
See, I would still leave high tier Washing Pole, Fade Blade, Chaos Blade, yes, but I think. Not sure about Ushi, but the rest.
I disagree with Chaos Blade. I actually think just Fade Blade, based on what I've seen so far, Fade Blade and Washing Pole, I think those are higher than the rest, and everything else is sort of samey in a sense. Although, you know, obviously the Unikiri, that has the combo potential, which can always be scary, but you got to know how to. You got to play a little bit wait and see on that one.
Bracket.
Yeah.
They put them paired weapons, but yeah, I think that's all. Unfortunately, the katanas are all identical practically. The Fade Blade and Washing Pole, the only two that stand out. Everything else is just an inferior version.
They're not that interesting. Fun fact, at least not to me. Although when they first came out,
I've never found them interesting.
When they first came out, being able to do the parry somebody was like the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, I've been caught by that one too many times. times.
I've seen people do this where like they roll and then they do it, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, because how the connection is, they were able to get it off. I'm like, are you kidding?
Well, I've seen people set up parry against straight swords, like, or in curved swords. Like, there's one guy sort of, basically, he ran in at his opponent, and the guy had a Carthus, and he went for the first swing. He rolled through the first swing, and then he just immediately parried, and he parried the Carthus guy and Hornet ringed him. It was just like,
ah, yes. I love those. I love those. All right, so
yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, nothing too exciting to talk about there, to be honest. As far as great swords, though, we got some new heavy hitters in here, and in fact, already #1, they put Gale's greatsword.
There's a very good reason for that. Most people are like, but why? It's trash. It does low damage. Nope. R1, L2, R1, 1000 damage. Beautiful.
It's the combo that really allows this to be much better. However, again, I feel like this is suffering from like new weapon syndrome.
Yes. Yeah, I would say the fact that they've put a whole tier above the Onyx Blade or the Black Knight Sword is crazy to me. I think it's just that one gimmick combo.
Yeah, and again, it's like, okay, well, what happens if I don't get hit by it? Well, the combo doesn't happen, right? So that's where I disagree.
Because it roll catches really well. Like, if you don't know it, you get roll call. Like, even there.
I didn't realize the R1 was this. R1's pretty good, too.
Yeah. Again, it's a weapon that is mostly countered by shield, but I actually think it is really good, and especially the fact that if you're two-handing it and you go R1, L2, R1, then yeah, it's 1000 damage.
How much stamina damage was that doing to your shield?
It got me down to about a quarter.
Oh, okay, that's actually...
You'll probably do a lot more there, actually. That does about a quarter. So yeah, I can't just stand... the weapon art does significantly less, about an eighth, but the standard R1's doing about a quarter of my guard.
I'm surprised I didn't hit you. Oh, didn't expect the stamina. Duh. Oh, ooh, nice roll, nice roll. Yeah, I mean, the weapon art is obviously pretty good. How far does that go, though? Wait, is this normally fire? Because I don't have a...
No, it's not.
Oh, that's the other one. The other damn weapon with, like, the fire freaking shockwave. Yeah, that actually has a pretty significant range. But, again, like you said, shield. What if you just block with your weapon? Like, let's say you just have the straight sword. How much does that do? Like, can you get out of the way?
Half. that does half.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you
curious
have to roll that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Black Knight Sword is pretty interesting that they made that basically second.
But, well, the Perseverance buff, the damage on a 40-40 build is absolutely fantastic. It's got a lot of reach to it. It's Greatsword's got that hyper arm buff, and Perseverance on it got a huge buff. It's like you can actually swap weapons. Like, look, you still got Perseverance now.
Yeah.
Look how long that is. That's that whole time I can't trade with you. So I've got to essentially wait for you to be done with whatever you're doing to then...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's, again, you know that's a thing, right? You know to basically not hit me twice. So you go in, you get your one hit in.
Perseverance to me has always been one hit back out.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like... And again, it's still slow enough to where it's not... If you do the one hit, and then I try to hit you, like... It's not gonna work. I don't know, stuff like that. I think people overvalue too much in the game in PvP. So that's a little weird. The damage is obviously real. no one's disputing that fact. Okay, let's just put that. Let's nip that in the bud right now. But I will say, that's. I think I would put great swords, basically everyone down a tier. I don't think they're as good as people think they are.
Well, yeah, compared to other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
I mean, that's what I'm doing. I'm comparing it to, like, well, what if I fought this guy with a shield and a straight sword in a tournament? Would I win with a great sword? Probably not. Okay? I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. There's only so much damage you can do with the little tiny tricks you have. So, that's the thing.
And anyone who knows it isn't falling for it. I guess random duels, then yeah, it's probably belongs where it is. But against people who really know what they're doing, then of course, no. But this is going to be controversial coming from me of all people. I actually agree with Onyx Blade being below the other three, like below Gale's, below Black Knight Sword, and below Wolf Knight Greatsword, and that's because there is no build that can efficiently use it at 120.
Oh, okay.
The requirements are too high.
At least that makes sense, though, right? I mean, as far as putting it down further.
Okay, ignore the triple split damage, which has irked me since it came out, because it does, it does physical split dark, and then the buff is fire, even though it adds a black flame when it should be dark. If it added a dark on top, then yeah, it'd be probably fantastic.
Yeah.
It's longer than all the other great swords, so its triple R1's pretty much roll catch by itself. But because you need to go 40-40, there is a strength requirement, and you need faith and intelligence at 40-40. You can't put anything in bit to have any poise, which is to me why it's useless.
I just like that that weapon art can hit somebody.
Yeah, it combos with the R1s. But yeah, I think because of the fact that you will only ever be able to trade with short swords and long swords, you can't take on any great weapon with it. So even like versus other great swords, if they're rocking that enough poise to be able to trade with you, you're not going to be able to do it.
Whoa! I didn't know that.
You don't have the stats. Oh yeah, you don't have the stats. So you bounce off my shield.
I was very confused for a second. Oh,
yeah, that happens with all weapons you don't have the stats for. But yeah, Moonlight Greatsword they put in the same place. Surprised the Hollow Slayer Greatsword is in there, but I feel like it's had an attack speed nerf. Like it feels slower to me. Greatsword Judgment's in there. One is Holy Sword, which is actually really good on the Faith build because it's pure physical.
I mean, are some of these here because they can be buffed? Like the Claymore, is that there because it can be buffed?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
it's also got really high damage on the heavy build.
Yeah.
66 heavy. It's
okay.
It's absurd.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, like, again, you know, this almost has, like, the samey feel to it, right? I mean, a lot of these weapons are very similar.
Yeah.
But
then again, you got something like Twin Prince's Greatsword's a tier below, but I think that'd be quite good.
I think for the variety of that weapon, it should be higher than some others, right? I mean, just the weapon art itself. I guess
I like great swords since the buff, but again, some of them mid-tier at most, couple maybe in high tier, but I don't think anything should be top tier.
I mean, definitely not. I will say, like, I'm looking at the Firelink Greatsword here, and I gotta say, I agree with where they're putting it, where it's that far down, because it is bad. Now, they said that the worst was the Storm Ruler.
It is.
It's bad. I'm not gonna lie, it's bad. I've used it. I've made a video with it. It is bad. It's so short. The weapon art doesn't even do that much damage when you use it, and it uses all your stamina. Like it's ridiculous. Like
it should have the same range it does in the Yorn boss fight.
Oh, like, that would be so cool. Like let me hit you with it, and it's gonna do nothing. Watch, it's gonna do 200 maybe. 398 for all your stamina, and you have to set up and somehow get lucky that they're just gonna stand there dumb. You know, like that's terrible. It's super short.
Yeah. The only time I've really seen that is when people are really trying to say, you're so terrible I can beat you with the Storm.
Yeah. So, I mean, for a lot of these, I guess I agree. Although, the Flamberge, I want to look at this real quick. Flamberge, is that shorter than a lot of the others? I don't know. I feel like the Flamberge
doesn't look that long, actually.
That's the Claymore. Flamberge is longer than the Claymore.
Yeah.
But the damage is more on the Claymore side, right?
Yeah, and the fact that the Claymore heavy infused 66 strength is...
Bastard Sword. Yeah, Bastard Sword should be low because it's freaking ridiculously short.
Yeah.
Drake Blood. Yeah, a lot of... I mean, looks like they're...
Yeah, a lot of them are pretty short.
Now, why do they hate on the Executioner's Greatsword as much as they do?
It's short?
It's not as short... It's not as short as Drake Blood. Or
I guess
Bastard
it's also
Sword.
damage. Oh, also the R2s. Which R2 does it have? Two-handed.
I think it has the overhand strike.
Yeah. Actually two-handed, so you can actually see the normal moveset. Yeah, that's why. It doesn't have the thrust R2. The thrust R2 is good.
But it also has the special ability... It absorbs FP from each fallen foe. I mean, that's great in PvP, right? Because you're just gonna win every time, and it's quick. And
oh yeah, you're just mowing down through hordes of phantoms. Like, oh, look at this infinite FP.
Yeah. All right. So final thought of Great Swords is that Gales is suffering from new weapon syndrome, I think, and
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for this, it's about hyper armor and damage. Although I guess Gales maybe has a leg up. Although maybe with the Wolf Knight Greatsword, it has sort of interesting jump attacks that you can sort of hit people with.
And they did speed it up.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that's fine. Although I would move probably everyone down at least one, because that's crazy. They put it top tier. There's no way.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I'd put Gales above Black Knight Sword, but it comes down to how people use them.
Yeah.
So, curved greatswords.
Curved greatswords, ladies and gentlemen. I will say, now, I've not used them since the buff.
I have. I've been doing it mostly for boss invasions, and I've been 3-showing people in the arena and Pontiff. It is obscene the buff that the XL Greatsword got. Like, it's... Like, people are getting over 700 AR with it. It's got hyper armor one-handed. It interrupts great swords because it has superior damage. The weapon art on that one's absolutely hysterical, but unfortunately it's just not the same damage as the XL. But the thing is, XL is actually pretty easy to outspace and counter. Like, I wouldn't put it top tier. I think people are overreacting to the buff. Like, yeah, okay, the damage, it'll 3-hit you, but at the same time, it needs to hit you 3 times. Like, it's... Okay, they're mostly shut down by shields.
Yeah.
At the same time, running attack's pretty good, but... You can. Yeah,
you were able to hit me and then roll away? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I went for a top tier. Like buffering running attacks, yeah, you'll 3-shot people. You put on a heavy 66 build, you put on blessed weapon, you're probably hitting 700 and something AR, which is again obscene, but it's an easy move set to counter. I think people are overreacting, and that sword's probably going to get nerfed because people are overreacting in PvP, even though it's mostly PvE to take out bosses. And they did increase the distance that the R2 travels, which is pretty funny. You do that little chicken run. But yeah, I think people are overreacting to the buff a bit. I'd move it down one. I think it should be yeah, definitely high tier, but not top tier.
I agree with you here. Like, I don't understand. Like, these are weapons that, compared to the others, and we're talking about quicker weapons, right? Have mostly lost the quicker weapons because you play the slight wait and see game and then you win. That's it. You don't even have to be like that wait and see. You just play it slight, and then when they don't have stamina, it's just like you can just block like forever, and then I'm out of stamina now. Like, and then you go into the attack. It's too easy, man. I mean, you got to understand that there's hyper armor in the game, but if you haven't played the game, then obviously you're probably going to get trounced. Wow, that hit you out of that, huh?
Yeah, I was hoping to see if I could outrange it with that. That thing is not very good.
Nice. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. That weapon it's so good. I do agree that it should be lower. I don't even know if I would put this in high tier. At least versus the way I play.
It can kill people in 3 hits, and you only need to one-hand it, and it has the exact same moveset, so you can still parry.
I can see that. Okay, that's sort of a position I didn't.
Of course, it does more damage, but the fact that you can 3-shot people is why you have to be wary. You can't let your guard down. Like, you hit me twice with that, and that'd mean if you'd had the full strength build, you had a buff on it, I'd need 1 more hit to be dead. And even if you're at half health, if I still need to hit you 4 more times, the fact that you only need to hit me once is you can wait for that trade. You can play the wait and see game yourself and just be like, okay, I just don't engage until I can get an opportunity.
Damn
that weapon is hilarious.
They put this second. They said this is second best. Although it looks gigantic, by the way.
It's got absurd damage as well. Like, it's almost the same. Like, it's 30 AR less, I think. It's probably slightly less. I think that I had on 60 strength build was like 617, and the other one was 697. Maybe it's only 20, but it's still slightly less damage, about the same reach, same move set. But the weapon art is actually more useful, especially in gank scenarios. Like if you haven't done Spears of the Church, take that weapon in there. It's so fun.
Oh man, I want to hit. I want to see how much damage this does. You know.
Okay.
All right, 232. Let's see the full combo if I get with somebody. That's pretty bad. Actually, that is surprisingly bad. I'm shocked.
You're one-handing it, though.
All right, two-handing. I didn't think that would make a difference with the weapon art. Was it?
Because the damage is obviously less.
Yeah, so I got like 20 more damage, I think. That is weird.
It's not much. Then again, you're not on the build for it. It's meant to be heavy infused.
Yeah. I'm still getting like 499. This, I mean, what about the weapon art of this is really good. I mean, you scare people off and then you basically recoil back. I don't know. Man, weapon art's got to mean something, right? I mean, it's got to mean something more.
I think that's where some of these actually get balance based on is the weapon art.
I mean, why? So it's just damage? Is that what you're saying? Is basically just damage that is making the other ones?
If the weapons have identical movesets, then weapon art and damage is going to be what determines where they are, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta say, I think the weapon art of the old Wolf Curved Sword is better overall, but maybe the weapon is shorter. And the only reason I like it is because actually, can you? I don't think so.
If you can't infuse or buff it, then of course you're going to be doing significantly less damage.
And just the fact that you can get out of the way is significant enough for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not an ultra curved sword user, so I haven't used these weapons too much. Yeah, you got to put your time in. But I agree that they got to be down. They are not that high.
No. I think people are overreacting to the buff. I really do with those. But yeah, pretty much there's not much really more we can say on them because they've all got almost identical movesets.
Yeah, and there's only 5.
I've got.
Yeah, okay, all right. So next up, and I want you to basically write a love letter to this next weapon here, if you will, because I've heard you sweet talking it.
Okay, I think this weapon is absolutely hysterical. Like, I've actually got into a very pleasant discussion with Bao about this.
And what weapon are we talking about here?
Split Leaf Greatsword.
Yes.
The helicopter. It's.
Yes. Whoa, you're flying.
It's nice to see attack choppers finally represented in video games.
Yes.
So people who assign that to agenda, you now have your representation. But this thing, okay, I'm a little bit sad I'm not on my strength build because 66 strength with blessed weapon. This thing does 1,000 to 1,300 damage in a true combo, and the true combo is absolutely fantastic. Like you can land this, and then look how animated it is. So,
yeah, that's 4 hits.
A plus 10 heavy blessed weapon, you're doing 1,000 to 1,300 damage. I've got a whole video of me one-shotting people in the arena, and of course it's also got that absurd roll catching ability with the other one, which and then you can just keep going for it. It's so good. I don't know. See, halberds is an interesting one. Like I use it at 40 poise, so I think it's fantastic. I don't know if I'd put in top tier, maybe high tier because of just that insane combo. Leave it in there with the Mad King's one, and probably Gundyrs and Black Knight, and everything else I would just throw down several tiers because they're garbage compared to it. Maybe the Lucerne, but.
So you think Black Knight is worse than Gundyrs?
Yes, since the nerf. Okay, Black Knight has amazing R2 roll catches, which you can do after the R1, L1, R1. Yeah, that. It's absolutely, it is quite beastly, but...
It has its own weak helicopter.
Yeah, but compared to damage to the Split Leaf, like the Split Leaf out-damages it by a large amount.
And just getting that 4 hit is crazy.
Yeah, and it's so easy to do. And even if you miss that first one, the fact that the second one will then normally always roll catch, like you have to be proper timing the rolls between them. Oh, I've okay. Nope,
okay, I mean, I've not used the Split Leaf myself, But I've seen the combos like you've shown.
Yeah. But again, I've never tried to helicopter with it. You can get 2 hits out of it before they can roll from it, but it is quite funny.
It is really cool.
But yeah, the range of it, the fact that it has hyper armor, it's just so easy to catch people in this. See, look how easy you caught me. Even not coming out of a roll there.
Yeah, I didn't even try because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think it's just a good weapon.
So you think it is better than the Gundyrs, though?
Yes, but only because Gundyr's only trick is the fact that if you don't know your parry timings, that. Yeah, that's it. Basically, it all depends if your opponent knows how to parry that. Because Gundyr's trick is it's just that charge. It's hyper armor on the charge, and everything else is outclassed by it's outclassed by the others.
What about dead angle?
Yeah, dead angling it. See, that's why I would still leave it high with Split Leaf and the Mad King staff, and possibly the Lucerne because of the Leo counter damage, and obviously the Black Knight because of just how good the setup is. But
I mean, it takes a lot of your stamina, though.
Yeah, it's weird that they put the glaive in there, halberd, the Wing Knight halberd. See, they've got the Immolation Tinder in there, and the red-hilted halberd, which is pretty funny because of just the jabbing and poise breaking.
I do think the red-hilted halberd should be up there in contention. That new weapon they have, the damn, what the hell's the name of that thing? Oh, the Crucifix. I think the Crucifix might be a little bit might be a little bit underrated right now.
I've been told that you put a dark buff on that, and you're doing like obscene damage, and it has the R2s. Now that's the one that Bao Bao was saying he thinks is the best of the glaives. Like he was saying that should be above Split Leaf. See, I'm not sure, but then again, I haven't used it as much. Like the only people that I've seen use it have obviously tried to use the weapon up, because sometimes you summon this explosion, sometimes you get buff and other little things like that. But I don't know. I guess it's a reason to use Dark Blade, which is always a good thing, because that's a buff that no one's ever needed to use. But again, I find halberds quite easy to counter, and the thing is, if you're using Dark Blade, you're probably not going to have the poise that you need to trade with straight swords, which is like 41.
73. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to mess around with this weapon a little bit more. I definitely think the damage is real. I mean, it looks insane. Just the
people have been saying that they've been doing like up to 1,000 damage in combos with it.
But again, that's if you can hit them. You know, that's the biggest issue right here.
But it looks so beastly. Look at that skull.
I know it has like got an axe in it in the skull and like, I don't know, leg bones or something. I don't know what the hell it is.
It does look fantastic.
So I mean, I think this one needs a little bit more time to sort of gestate and understand if this is actually as high it is. Split Leaf I think is pretty straightforward though, because I mean you're getting the 4-hit combo like automatically.
Yeah, Split Leaf we've explored. We know it's amazing. This sort of thing.
Red Hilted. I think I'd put Lucerne over Halberd, but under Red Hilted personally.
Of course. Yeah, Lucerne definitely, just because of the fact that everything counts as a thrust on it, so you're Leo ringing everything.
Yeah. And they have the Crescent Axe, which now the thing about the Crescent Axe is the damage is extremely low. But
at least the Crescent Axe they put a whole tier below, but they put it in mid tier. That's low to bad tier in my opinion.
I agree. I mean, the one thing is it does have hyper armor at least. Other than that, though, it is pretty bad. It's strictly worse than basically every other one. That's the problem with it. It's none of the other ones are
Speaking of something else, actually, something I would throw almost straight to the bottom, maybe almost you died or low tier, is the Immolation Tinder. Before the poise changes, it was fantastic. You could use it with one point in poise, and you could outtrade all curved swords and straight swords, and you could cast with it.
Yeah.
So it was a catalyst. It was fantastic. But now that you need 41 poise to be able to trade with it, it's trash.
Okay, so what you're saying is there's really no build you can use, even with a Havel's Ring +3. There's no build you can use to try to get that amount. and maybe
Not
cast
to
one
use
or
it
two
as a
things.
catalyst. Like, you could, if you were to build with it on a quality build to get
Yeah.
some damage out of it, and you had the vitality, you might as well use something else that you can use in R2, because you can't use the R2s on this because
Yeah.
it's a catalyst. Whereas on a sorcerer, then you can't ever have the poise to trade, so you might as well use a more damaging
Yeah.
catalyst. It's,
Okay. Because of that reasoning and logic for this weapon specifically, and we're looking at what, 120? Is that sort of the level we're looking at
yeah,
here?
120.
I definitely understand it, and I definitely agree with you because of that specific aspect where you already have those stats, something else is just better anyway. I mean, it's not like,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, the whole point of that is so you can cast as well. So I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Put those a little bit lower. All right. So next up, oh, man, the Dark Souls 2 Worst Weapon Awards. We have hammers. What do you think about hammers?
See, I think hammers are amazing. I absolutely love the war pick and the hammer since the buff. Hammers is actually my secret weapon against greatswords. Like,
yes.
Do you know that you need 50 poise to be able to trade with a hammer when you have a greatsword?
No, I didn't.
50. Like,
that
it's absurd. Actually, I'm actually let's make sure I'm not overextending this. Let me just double check. So, just because someone's going to fact check me, let's double check the poise breakpoints. But I think it's something absurd like 50. You need 55 for the greatsword. So, but yeah, two-handed hammers on a greatsword, you need 51. 51 poise to be able to trade with it.
That's pretty significant. That's hard to do,
Yeah.
actually.
And whereas the hammer, you can, of course, if you're using a mace, you can also use perseverance if they're using anything bigger. But the hammer itself, like, once you've got 43.57 poise, you can trade with any single attack on a curved sword or a long sword, even charged R2s.
That
and
is
Warpick, Leering trades, like, I've got a build that I did a video on. I've got a 540 AR Warpick on a strength build, heavy infused, with blessed weapon, and Leering. So I'm trading and three-shotting people, and the third hit, since they buffed it, is like this rocket step, so you just fly forwards, which is, I think, hilarious. And it also does shield chipping on the Warpick, so yeah, I like where it is. I wouldn't put it in top tier because it is short reach. You can outspace it with a straight sword, long sword. You have to compare it. But I see it in high tier. I like exactly where it is. Wouldn't put the reinforced club with mace, warpick, and hazel pick though.
Hazel pick is one that I'm interested. It's one I've barely used. I'm just curious, like, how this works with your mage type character. I mean, is it really
on R2?
Yeah, is it that good though? I mean, is it that good to be literally right after the war pick?
Yeah, I think it's. See, I'm not sure I would put it in there, but it is really, really good.
I don't know. It's something I haven't used, so it's tough for me to say specifically on that one.
Mm-hmm. But no, I think I do think it's really good. I would have to try it more on a mage build because I haven't done it before. But yeah, I think it is good. I think hammers are fantastic. I actually quite agree with most of it, but again, like I said, I'd put reinforced club down because I think it's terrible.
I agree with reinforced club. I actually think, basically, except for the war pick, and I guess Hazel's in that instance, and maybe the mace. I think the mace is one tier lower. I think everything else is 2 lower. I can't. I'm shocked. Like, you're not gonna do anything with the others at all. But the hyper armor is a big deal, obviously, for the pick. And I mean, like you said, the third strike on this for the lunge forward for the roll catch is awesome. And you can trade and do crap with a lot of the bigger weapons. Obviously, you don't want to do this with ultras, but there is a time and there is a place to do it. Using this weapon. I actually am a little surprised that they didn't put it in top tier, only because it sort of is favorable against a lot of these other weapons that are in the top tier, which is an interesting checks and balance on this. So, I mean, I am also very curious on exactly how they put that in there. I think because maybe no one uses them versus the other ones. I feel like they sort of downgraded it.
Yeah, no, I can understand that.
But yeah, I can definitely see Warpick up there. Hazel, again, it's tough for me to say because it's Mace has the same type of thing as Warpick, right, with the hyper armor.
Yeah.
And then the rest is much worse. And then they put the Black Knight or Blacksmith Hammer last, and I completely agree because it is awful.
Yep.
Holy crap!
Actually, there is one below it. They put the Follower's Torch one below, and that is pretty terrible.
I use the Follower's Torch. I have a video with that, and it does, in weird instances, have a hyper armor. But it's bad. It doesn't do it nearly enough damage, and the weapon art, even if you hit somebody, is a joke. It's sad. It's very sad.
I was quite excited when I found out it was a damaging hammer, because I was like, oh yeah, it'll be a hammer that I can use with my Pyroman, so it's going to be amazing. And I took it straight into the arena, and I was like, oh, it's garbage.
Oh yeah.
Everything about it is garbage.
I think all these people in the arena already know it's garbage. All right.
Yeah.
All right, hammers are done. Now great hammers. Probably the most obliterated in Dark Souls 3 class. The one that basically they said, you know what? We're going to spend a year and a half trying to make it better and still not make it good.
I actually think some of the buffs are pretty good, but they're still very easy to counter.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
No, it's like they put in one into high tier, which is Ledo's Great Hammer, which on 6/6 strength build with its buff can do obscene damage, can 3-shot people, but it's still a hammer.
They put it the low end of high, actually.
Yeah, the very low end of high. To be fair, I don't even know I'd consider it better than the Great Club, because the Great Club R2's roll catches, that straight into an R1 isn't bad actually. But
yeah, but once you see, like, again, like, if you've seen it, you know what's happening, and you were still able to backstab me. That's disgusting.
Yeah, they'll never be meta. There's not really much you can say about him. Vort's Great Mace, it can do frost in 2 hits, so it's not that bad on a yeah, it's not that bad on the strength build, but yeah, the whole class is pretty trash. Damn,
are you whoa, hold up. What's going on here? There's something that says QH here.
QH? The Quake Hammer.
I'm gonna be honest with you. No. All right. No. Here's my list. Here's my list. And we're gonna go over to the left side and we're gonna see, oh, top tier, no. High tier, no. Mid tier, maybe. Mid tier, we're gonna go maybe Great Club. And maybe Lido's Great Hammer. Maybe. And then everything else, we are dropping below that significantly. Because, again, you know, this is just from my experience. You know, whether or not other people play differently, I'm not sure. But from my experience, when I see a Great Hammer, my soul just comes out of my body. And then I, like, go to sleep for a little while. And then I wake up and I was like, oh, I won. I didn't realize it. I just won. That's sort of my experience against Great Hammers. If I'm even relatively awake or even thinking I want to win that fight, I've already won that fight. I don't get it. And it's a little different if you have a heavier weapon. What I'm basically talking about is if you have a quicker weapon, I don't see how you lose against a Great Hammer. I just don't. They're that slow. They're bad. Even if you get tricked once or twice, you're still gonna win. Like, I don't get it, man.
It's very embarrassing to lose to a Great Hammer. Like, if you do lose, the other guy was just so much better than you. There's no point even challenging him for a rematch. You deserve that loss.
It's crazy. So yeah, I mean, this is all these are just lower. Put it lower, like that's why they need even more tiers on this, because there needs to be middling tiers with this. I mean, there's some of these that are good against other ultras. There are way
too many
stuff
at the
like
top.
that.
Like, across the board, they put way too many things way too high. There's probably like 10 weapons in Dark Souls that are top tier, not 30 odd or whatever they've done here.
That's so crazy. Yeah, I would put these lower. The spiked mace is interesting that they put that there. I'm assuming because the weapon art and bleed, but now bleed.
Yeah, it can roll catch people if they don't know what. If someone hasn't seen it before, it has caught me out. But it does do a lot of damage. Like, yeah, I didn't even see him coming into my side there.
How much bleed did that do to you right there?
Practically none.
That is terrible. It has 43. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I guess you got bleed infuse it or use it on a hollow build and Carthus Rouge.
What about this? How much bleed does this do?
A quarter.
Worthless. Well, now bleed is worthless again. What the hell? That's terrible.
I guess you got to build specifically for it. You need to be making hollow builds. I guess a heavy hollow build might be able to use some bleed.
That's crazy, man. That is pretty crazy. I am shocked.
But yeah, it's Great Hammers is a trash class. I know some people are gonna be like, oh, but I get so many win streaks of it. You should totally fight. If you can beat me with the Great Hammer, you could probably beat me bare-fisted with no stats. Like,
it's funny because that's the type of crap I get. And I'm like, no, man. Like, honestly, if I tried or if I had a shield, like, you're not going to do anything. Like, it's
one of those things. Even if they did beat me, it's not because of the weapon. It's because I'm trash and they're so much better.
Or lack of you even caring about life anymore. You probably just gave up.
Yeah, I dropped my controller, the power went off, and by the time it turned back on, you'd done the 3 hits required to kill me.
Yeah, seriously. And then they got Smose, which a lot of people thought Smose is better than a lot of these other, like, that. I think this is just like a mix-up versus preference. And, what is it? The great, what is that? Gargoyle Flame? Oh my god. Gargoyle Flame is one of these.
Trash.
This is one of these disappointing.
So trash.
Like, there's certain things I don't understand why they did it. And maybe because it's PvE type deal, is they did it. But, like, if you hit somebody in PvP with, like, the special attack like this, it should do half their life. It should do half their life, like, automatically, because it's so ridiculously, extremely difficult to even get that hit. No, you know how much it does? It does, like, 250 or something. It doesn't even do anything. It's stupid. And that's what they should do with a lot of these weapon arts. But I think it's for PvE balancing, I think. That's the only thing I can come up with. And then, of course, what they put as a joke weapon, basically, is the Great One Hammer, which, man... Normally, I would say no. I mean, you can hit somebody with this. It's a weapon. It can do. No, I might have to agree with this. This is one of, if not the worst weapon in the game.
Yeah,
it's bad. I mean, look at that. And this is plus 10. This is plus 10. You can buff it though. You can buff it. Let's not go crazy and say you can't buff this thing. But I mean, even buffing it. Let's do what do we got? We got Dark here. Let's do Dark. Even if you're trading and I hit you with 2 R1s, 537, and let's be honest, you must have sneezed at that point.
Almost the same as me for 2. Like, I almost did the same damage.
Yeah, and you must have sneezed getting hit by this. So one of the biggest issues with this weapon is the fact that if you're trading, which you try to do with hyper armor weapons a lot of times because you're not that fast, right? So if you're trading, you still like lose. Like, so if somebody hits you with something like you did 500, but then maybe you did, or I did 500 damage and then you did 300, that's like a net profit of 200 damage. That's terrible. You know, it's like, it's not worth it. That's why it's so bad. I mean, it's slow. It's a great hammer, clearly. I mean, the attacks are terrible. The R2 makes me cry, really. One thing they could have did in this game that made the R2s not that bad is limit rolling distance. That's it. Like, that's the like, they could have made rolling distance basically based on your character's heft, you know, on their weight ratio, and I would have been like, okay, so you're not going to get hit with the R2s because you're that type of character at 30 weight, so you get to roll double distance. But everything else, you should be able to R2 roll catch people. But no, you can't because rolling is too good. Anyways, I'm done with Great Hammers because I hate them, and I'm very sad.
The whole class is bad. Okay, this is actually taking way longer than I thought it would be. I think we've been discussing this for 2 hours so far, and we're only halfway through. I think maybe because for time-wise, people are going to be getting to the point where they're not sure if they want to keep going.
Okay.
Let's see if we should. Let's just talk about some of the controversies for the last of the weapon classes.
All right.
And what we've got left is Ultras, Thrust and Sword, Paired Weapons, Reapers, Fist and Claws, Bows, and Great Bows. Fist and Claws, Bows, Whips, and Reapers, they're all pretty trash. So
I don't know why they put
it's
some
mostly
of these...
going to be Ultras, Thrusting, and Paired that we need to discuss last.
Right.
But
real quick, for bows
bows
and stuff, why are they even as high as they are? Is that because they're offhand and therefore sort of sidearm? Because there's no way.
Okay, crossbows I can see because as a sidearm they are pretty fantastic. Bows, yeah, they're all pretty trash. Like composite maybe because you can roll and do it, but the rest are all terrible.
But I mean,
can understand why
they
it's so
have to be for sidearm, right? Like they have to be in inclusion with some other weapon because they can't be by themselves.
Yeah, if you're using that as your only weapon, I don't see you winning. I think that's
okay. So I just want to get that out of the way because that's weird. Claws are higher than the cestus as far as just a weapon. I'm assuming they're not taking into account for
parrying.
And then the other ones are lower. Dark hand is, of course. I'm actually surprised Dark hand isn't lower.
Yeah, I'd put Dark Hand in the "You Died" section.
Yeah, I'm surprised it isn't low. That's weird. Okay, so whips. Okay.
Which is clearly better than the others. I've seen some people do some good things, but they're all pretty trash.
You've seen me do some good things, right?
Well, to be fair, the first PvP weapon I used was the Witch's Lock, and I had a nearly flawless run with that until people realised, oh, if I don't panic roll, this is quite easy to counter.
One thing I will say that people may not understand about whips that actually is a much added benefit, and I'll read it right here, is their skill. Now, you know their skill. It's like a whip around, and it has extreme range, right? But strike from the left to evade shields and deal a stinging blow that temporarily slows stamina recovery. That's a huge deal, actually. That's a pretty big deal. A lot of people don't realize that, and I mean, look at the weapon arm. Look how far away I hit you. And that did go through the shield, but doesn't do much damage, clearly.
You know, I don't actually notice my stamina recovering any slower.
Oh, I don't think I hit you. Let me hit you regularly with it. Without the shield.
Oh, okay. No, it still seems pretty fast to me.
Alright, so maybe that effect isn't as great as I thought it was, because it almost seemed like when it was happening to me, or maybe it's as you're getting hit. Alright, so like expend all your stamina.
I have Chloranthy +3.
So expend all your stamina and then let me try it and see your recovery versus rest rate recovery.
Okay. Nope. Still looks pretty good.
Alright, well, I don't know. That experiment was
terrible.
terrible.
Slightly, but I barely noticed it.
Yeah, it's not detrimental. They should up that, actually, for whips. But, yeah, I mean, I'm actually surprised that the notched whip is... Maybe because the nerf of... something. I don't know. That's weird that the notched whip is lower, considering what it has. Spotted whip... no, I would say spotted whip's worse. I don't... That's interesting.
Speaking of controversies, S-Stock not being in top tier. S-Stock with shield is probably one of the best setups in the game.
Best stock,
why is it not
as they say.
Yeah, the best stock. Why is it not top tier? Even offhand, it's still pretty good. Like, shield turtling is the best strategy in the game. Like, what? Why is the most effective weapon for it not in the top?
Why is that not top tier? Maybe because by itself, without a shield, it doesn't compare well. I mean, for the slow startup time. I mean, that's what I would think. But it does have crazy range, though. I mean, you could still do running attacks, and it's... I don't know.
I saw a comment that someone said because it's easy to parry, and they're not easy. Like, I've just seen people walk up and be like, jab, 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 jab.
Yeah,
jab,
because...
Jab. And if you delay them, you'll roll catch, you'll bait out the parries. It's like, it's a fantastic weapon. There are some things, like, I'm sorry, you're putting Gale's sword in top tier over here. You're putting Exile's great sword in top tier, but you're not putting S-Stock. Like, I will eat every great sword user in this game with a shield and an S-Stock. Like, I don't care how good you are, and if you, like, again, if you do beat me like that, you could probably beat me with your bare fist.
Yeah, I mean, with the shield, a lot of these things are rendered useless because shields are OP in this game. I mean, I don't think anybody's saying that. Yeah, that's interesting.
That the best way to use shields is actually to roll the attacks and only block if you can't take it. So they can't be like, oh, I'll just break your shield with a kick.
Yes, thank you for saying that, because a lot of people seem like, well, no, I could just break through shields. Like, yeah, if I'm standing there like an asshole, just taking the hits, like, clearly I'm not going to do that. A lot of times, if I were to use a shield, it's so that, just for the just in case my spacing was off. That's like a lot of times, you know.
the only time you use a shield is if you don't have the time to roll. It's between rolls, or the fact that you're fishing for a backstab and you're just running at them like this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
You'll always want to roll first and block if you can't, because you can block quicker coming out of the roll than you can roll the second time. So.
I will say, if it's just strictly the S stock, I will say that I agree with where it is. But S stock with shield.
Just the S stock, maybe.
S stock with shield. Ricard's rapier, I would put that lower. Actually, I would put rapier and Ricard's rapier lower.
See, rapier is actually a really good offhand weapon because you can parry and thrust in your offhand.
Ah, yeah. I can see that.
So you could have the Exile Curse on your right hand for that really big three-shotting running attacks, and then at the same time you can have the S stock in your offhand, which parries, pokes, and it's got the speed. So you've got hyper arm in your right hand and then speed in your left. Yeah,
but I'm looking at it as if it's your main, you know,
on its own. Maybe,
so I would put those lower. Hold on, let me see the Irithyll rapier. I got to see the.
But again, rapiers are still one of the best classes in the game. It's like straight swords, curved swords, and rapiers. They're the three best classes in the game.
Man, I gotta say, I think I would put. I think I put S stock above everything else.
That's mostly reach.
Crystal Sage Rapier, I would put second, maybe.
I'm surprised
under
that's so high. I actually always thought that weapon was Garbo, but I guess
not. Well, it has the range. That's really what it's about. And then the others are just worse on the range, which is unfortunate. But yeah. All right. Next up, I want to get to I want to do paired last because I think that's way off. I don't know.
Okay, let's Okay, Reapers, again, Reapers all have identical movesets. The only difference is, is the fact that the Freed's one and the...
I disagree, by the way, with this. I would put Freed's first.
I'd put Freed's first, and I'd probably push Reapers down, actually, a whole tier, because I think they're just a bad class.
I'm shocked. Freed's is first. Why is that not first? The weapon art is, like, free, and... That's weird. That's weird. I don't understand.
I guess it's because once you've seen it once, you know to space the weapon art, and then it just becomes meaningless.
Yeah, but isn't that the same with the others? You know, like, so if you're taking that same...
See, there are others I can catch weapon arts where, like, even if you know I've got this weapon art, I'm still likely to catch you with it in a fight. Whereas Freeds, you have to do that little jump, and every time. Nope. There's enough time to always roll away.
I think you can attack, and I can still get you with it, because it does have quite ridiculous range.
Oh yeah, the hyper armor is fantastic, but at the same time, the moment I see that, I'm out. The second I hear, even the hits,
but like,
because of the jump.
If you attack me, you can't roll away that fast. So if I time it with attacking you, so like you come close and then you try to attack, like obviously I'm not gonna just... I'm gonna try to plan it as if I'm doing hyper armor here, you know, like I'm not doing anything else.
But again, it's the fact that you have to jump. By the time you jump, I'll always be able to roll.
I mean, you did get hit though, is what I'm saying.
In my iframes, I didn't take damage.
What? You took 15 damage.
Did I?
Yeah, I don't have the.
Oh, okay. Maybe you did hit me. Okay.
Yeah, I just don't have the stats to use this right now.
Ah, okay. Maybe I'm a little bit trash and I was making it. But it's got a slightly different two-handed moveset to the others, I guess, which is it's not bad by comparison.
I think it's fine.
The triple R1 it's a little bit different, but yeah, I just think Reapers are bad. Okay, so that's before we do paired weapons then, because I think paired weapons we can actually spend time on.
Well, we have Ultra Great Swords, right? And Great Axes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Let's quickly go for Ultra Great Sword and Great Axes. Yorms, yep, clearly above everything else. I would definitely put that high tier, but only more as an offhand. By itself, probably mid tier. Everything else I'd push down a tier.
What are they doing here? They put an axe over here. That's a joke.
Yeah, they've got the Earthseeker in there. Is trash. Why would you? Okay, Black Knight Great Axe. I would put above everything else in this list that they've got here besides Yorms.
What are they doing?
Actually got,
even if it got buffed,
wait,
it doesn't matter.
Pickaxe is a great club, though. or I guess it
No,
has that move set.
no, it's a great
It has
axe.
great club hyper armor.
Yeah.
No, but it has great club hyper armor, or great mace, or whatever the class is.
Yeah.
It has, the hammer hyper armor. But yeah, Black Knight Great Axe I would definitely put above everything. But
Oh, you're right.
yours.
It is a great hammer. No, you're right.
Yeah, it's a great hammer.
Oh, what? So they're wrong. This list sucks. We did 2 hours of this and this.
GG, no re, we're done.
But that should be lower regardless. What are they doing? That's terrible. And this,
I guess Leo Ring, the fact that you now can't parry it anymore, but it's still trash, especially Earthseeker.
I want to point out that I actually think the Earthseeker is barely above the Great Wooden Hammer. I just want to point that out, in my opinion.
I remember that was the weapon that almost made you quit playing this game.
I cannot believe that's even on a tier. This is almost a joke weapon to me. I would put it definitely on the... I would put it bad tier. I wouldn't put it joke weapon tier. But I would put...
Yeah.
I would also put pickaxe... I'd probably put pickaxe low tier. Wow. I don't think they use great axes. I think they just didn't use great axes.
I don't think they use great axes. I think the whole set of great axes is a joke. I would shove everything down at least. Okay, I would put. Yeah, I'd put.
That's crazy.
Probably
man.
Demon Great Axe.
Demon Great Axe.
Earthseeker into bottom tier.
Yes, Demon Great Axe.
Tier above it.
Way
Great
terrible.
Axe, pickaxe, and probably medium tier might see Dragon Slayer Great Axe. Black Knight Great Axe.
Yeah, I think the Black Knight Great Axe
machete,
is
but
way better than a lot of these other.
The Black Knight Great Axe can shield break. The Black Knight shield on 3 hits. It does chip damage. It's good.
That's crazy. I disagree with this list probably the most out of all of them. This is awful.
Yeah, the Great
I
Axe
don't know
is
what the hell they were doing. Holy hell! All right,
well,
so
wait till you see Ultras. Ultras. Is...
Let's see Ultras real quick. Let's do this.
Okay. In Ultras, they've put nothing in high tier, and they've just mostly jumbled a few things into medium tier. So we've got the Lothric Knight Greatsword, the Astora's Greatsword. The Astora's Greatsword is absolutely trash since it lost the unparable rolling R1.
Yeah.
Lorian's Greatsword, which on a fully charged R2 can pretty much one-shot someone with Leo Ring, so I don't know why that's in there. Famed Greatsword is kind of low. But yeah, why Fugs should be almost in joke tier because it is terrible. It's the highest weight in the game. It's the lowest damage of any Ultra. Yes, it's buffable, but it's terrible. But then again, they put Zweihander in low tier.
Yeah.
When a heavy Zweihander outdamages everything in the class, and it has the sweeping thing. I think even
is that a new thing
R2,
though?
which is the good R2.
Is that a new thing? Okay, so.
Buff.
Yeah.
Black Knight Greatsword, I agree, because it lost the wombo combo. You can't true combo the R1 to the return R2 anymore since they sped it up. But yeah, it's the whole class is countered by shields, but at the same time, the hyper armor is still pretty good.
Wait, do they not have the ring knight? Oh no, that's paired. Never mind.
Yeah, that's paired. But there's a lot of them where it's like, well, why are you putting some things high tier in Greatswords when these Ultras counter them? It's like...
Yeah, I know, I agree. I mean, there's certain things you can do. All right, here's something cool with this that a lot of people don't know about. I don't think is like, all right, so I can go after you and I can do this. I can throw a knife and then I can do that. I think that's awesome. I think that
I didn't know.
Yeah,
I
see,
would fall for that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how cool is that? And you get the hyper armor that. Now, granted, here's the thing that I always say is like, fool you once, right? Not fooling you again.
Every weapon.
Yeah, I know, it's awesome. This is something I figured out in one of my videos. I was like, wow, that's really cool. And there's certain weapons that can utilize it better, like this weapon, for instance.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool.
What you're saying is you may have discovered a tech that I've never seen, and I've never seen it in a competitive scene, that might even make some Ultras viable.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, at least for one hit. At least for one hit. I mean, that's the thing, you know? I mean, look at that.
That's incredible.
How cool is that, right?
That's incredible. Okay,
you're welcome.
Gimmick, I might...
You've taught me some things, and hopefully I taught you a cool thing.
See, that's fantastic. But again, I would use that on a completely different weapon. I wouldn't use it on the thugs. Maybe like the Black Knight Greatsword, because it outdamages it like...
Yeah. I mean, I was
insanely,
just saying it as far as like... because...
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you're thrusting it back up. Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, I like that. I like everything about that.
It's cool, man. I was trying it with other things. It doesn't work, though. Oh, it does work with that. I didn't realize. I think these are so slow it works with the R2. Okay. That's cool, though. It is cool. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Ultra weapons are still bad. So it's like these are, I mean, obviously they're better than hammers, or great hammers. But they're still like, there's only one that I sort of fear as far as ultra weapons are concerned, and it's this scumbag right here. I hate this weapon so much.
That's the one they've put in the terrible tier as well of paired. Okay, well, seeing as you've got that out, let's move on to paired weapons.
All right, here it is, the end.
Ultras, the whole list for ultras pisses me off because the fact that they even have a great axe or a great hammer above it is insane to me, and I can't respect that section. But
I agree with you.
Yeah, so Farron's greatsword they've put in they've put in low tier, which I think is absolutely hysterical.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, there's a way to play around it, right? But also, as far as like, there's no way the daggers are better than that. There's just no way.
No.
The Drang
There's
hammers.
No way the dancing swords are better than that. No, the Drang hammers better than that.
I just don't. No. I don't get that. I mean, I'm trying to look at it as if, okay, if I'm playing against that weapon with the other weapons that they think are better, all those weapons lose. You know, like there's obviously no, there's no way the Drang hammers lose. The twin swords, they lose.
Yeah, and the Farron greatsword does have 1,000 damage combo because you can mix up the weapon art into your R1s and your R2s. And I've done ones where I've done breakdance, R1, R2, and then caught people and done like 1,000 damage. So I wouldn't put that there.
Uses 0 FP, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's unlimited usage.
Yeah, that's crazy. So we got the Crow Quills, which I actually do like as weapon a lot, actually.
I think they're one of the best rapiers. The parry riposte on them is higher than all the daggers.
Yeah, that's what they say.
It's insane.
What is it? The Ubada Peeps, is that in there?
Yeah, they've put that down into mid tier, and yeah, I agree with that. Since I'd actually put it in low tier. The damage is incredibly low now.
Yeah, I do agree with that right
Only
there.
Only Kyrian Ubadachi.
We got the Drang Spears. I do like the Drang Spears. They are a little hard to use, but if you can get hit into a combo, they are pretty brutal.
I'm just rolling L1. Rolling L1 like the Gotthards.
But they also have crazy phantom range on. They have pretty good roll catches too, as well, because they're like just slow enough and weird enough where it's like, damn it,
yeah,
I'm used to these other crap. So all right, here's the new one that they put in there. It was the damn doors. Now I was doing 2v2 with these doors.
They're actually pretty good,
and they are interesting. Now, however, I will say a shield makes the shield worthless. Anytime I have a shield out,
that you wait for them to attack and then you just hit them. So
exactly.
As long as you don't engage, there's nothing they can do.
It's also sort of understanding how their stamina is used with that weapon, because they can attack again, and that is pretty annoying. So you basically have to make sure that their stamina management is bad. Otherwise, it could be a long match, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like when I played him on my Pyromancer, I was chipping him at Fire Surge, and if he ever then tried to attack, then I'd hit him once and I'd go back to chipping.
Yeah.
You can't rush in. It's a long fight, but it's easy to counter even on the first time you see them.
We got Valorheart, which I like a lot. I think Valorheart...
Yeah, I think it's a really good weapon. I'd leave that high tier. I wouldn't put top tier, but I like it there.
I think it barely makes high tier, personally.
Barely. Yeah,
just really barely. And then we have this weapon, which has been the bane of a lot of people's existence already. Just that attack right there.
There is no way that should be in high tier, and that attack is why I think so. There's actually a little secret I found with them on my Pyromancer. After that thrust, that thrust that it does, if you're walking at the right time, there's actually a moment you can interrupt the hyper armor, especially if you've got something that can break poise. So not that one, the actual double thrust it does. Some people, the L1s can't be parried on this. Someone says you can parry the tip, but I'm not willing to put my life at risk. That's a fair bit of health. But when they do the double forward thrust, there's actually a small time that you can walk in and hit them and break their hyper armor. And if you have something that can poise damage as well, like parting flames, black flame, that's what I do. Is I literally walk up into their face, wait for them to do the double thrust, and if I can just miss the tip, I can then walk up and be like, bam, black flame. There's nothing they can do. But yeah, people are really overestimating this.
That was so weird.
I can hit you in your face and then block your next hit. So people are really, really overestimating them. That small gap there, you can punish and not be true combo. Again, I don't have my pyromancy, so I was just having to go with a single hit with the sword, but it's possible.
I like that. I like that. I think this is more of an arena type weapon, personally.
Yeah, because it three shots people in the arena.
Yeah, and I was fighting duels with people with the doors and with this weapon. And
oh yeah, the doors hard counter that.
So this weapon and the doors were facing me, a straight sword user, with somebody else who was like they were a faith user, and it was the hardest match. Oh man, it was so
I bet.
terrible. And they also were like, I don't know if they were max level or whatever, but they also were throwing pyromancy every time like we would try to do anything. So it was like the most ridiculous combos I've seen. Having two people with this weapon is infinite. You just die.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm planning to do some boss invasions with that weapon because it looks like it would be hysterical, and it's just so freaking anime.
Wait, boss invasions? What are you talking about?
Oh, there's a Covenant in DLC where
the Covenant.
You are the boss.
I gotcha. All right.
Yeah,
I was hoping that they somehow rebroke their patch of invading people in boss roads.
It's kind of like that because you are the boss, but I don't know if I'd put the twin axes up there. Sellsword twin blades I definitely wouldn't put up there because that gimmick was done to death.
Yeah, I would definitely lower
twin
those
blades on a bleed build I would have put above there, but since the nerf, maybe not. The Gotthard's still the longest reaching R1 in the game, so yeah, it does deserve to be high tier, but not top tier anymore.
I agree with the Gottards up there. The axes can do massive damage and they have interesting range, but you also have to know that they have interesting range and stuff like that. So that, again, if you know the weapon, then you know how to get away from it. And as far as the Gottards are great. I mean, the only thing that their biggest problem is, I guess, their weight, right? But other than that, like, even if you just one-hand it and use it as a straight sword, it's really good. So it's crazy.
Like, pretty good.
Yeah.
You can also, I think, I don't know if it's from the first R1, but if you hit with the R1, you can then go L1, and I think it true combos.
All right, let's see here.
Maybe not. Nah, maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
Well, let me try it. Let me try R1, L1, L2. Let's try if I can roll catch you. Yeah, I messed up. I messed up. I
don't think so. But yeah, it does. It's got good damage. It's not a bad weapon at all. I think they're good. The rolling attacks are good.
In fact, this is what people. I've seen people just do the rolling attack.
Yeah, but especially pre-nerf, like, yeah.
I want it. I want it.
Were fantastic.
Oh, there was blood.
But, I see them being there. Is there any other weapons you want to talk about from these lists?
All right, let me look at this real quick. I mean,
because we've covered everything.
We've covered everything in just the span of 2 hours. I will say,
I'm sorry if people were enjoying the format, but yeah, I think we had to speed it up because otherwise a lot of people aren't
great hammers. The most egregious worst list is the Great Axes. I cannot believe that they think the Earthseeker is even a weapon. Are you kidding me?
Ultras.
Oh my goodness.
I don't agree with a lot of those.
I think they rated many of these too high. I think for most of them,
a lot of them are way too high.
Like, what do they got? They got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They got 8 in top tier. Which
And
I don't.
tier is more than I care to count. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of this could just be pushed down a rank, and some of them need to be brought up because some of them I feel like they have personal vendettas against, like the Farron Greatsword. It's not that terrible.
Yeah. That should be way higher than it is because it's just annoying. I mean, you get caught with one of those little stuns and you're getting hit with the rest of them. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I disagree with. At least like one space placement on most of them, but heavily on the great axes and decently on the ultra great swords are pretty bad. I don't know what the hell they're doing. And the paired have some wonky things. So I mean, overall, it's okay. I sort of want to create my own Reddit post with my list, and obviously we have the brand that would be god tier. There's only one god tier. Everything else is obviously lower than that. I would consider adding more tiers actually, because there are ones that are just in between, you know, high and mid, in between top and high type stuff like that.
An S to an E like they do with weapon skins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, what about you? What's your last thoughts on this? I think it's really cool that, you know, that they're trying to do this, but maybe they were a little bit wonky.
I think I'm going to have to host a tournament in the next couple of weeks and just really test it out and see what people bring. I think we need to get another tournament going.
I'm in. That's awesome. I'll be down for that. Hopefully it's on a Sunday. I don't know.
Actually, I think one of the people I definitely want to get in, because he's won at least 2 out of the 5 PlayStation 4 tournaments I've watched. He wants to do a Sunday, so it'll probably be that. But yeah, I think we're getting towards the natural conclusion. So I think before we go, then we have the duel. Like.
oh, what do you want me to use? I got to use one of these meta weapons, right? What's meta enough?
Pick something top tier.
All right, something top tier. Oh crap! All right, man, I almost want to pick the curved sword only because I don't understand why that would be top tier. But no, I'm gonna pick something new. I guess I'll pick Gale. See what happens here.
Okay, I'll let you fix your armor.
Oh, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't really care for. I don't know what I'm doing.
Just so you can medium roll would be nice.
Oh, I can roll. Havel's ring +3 OP, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
Yeah. It actually only added 1 point, I think.
No, yeah, it was not very impressive. All right, I have to understand this weapon real quick. Hold on.
Great sword and the L2s. Well, funny enough, I haven't really learned the moveset of that weapon, and when I was using Split Leaf, that's the reason I kept switching to Hammer, because that was bugging the crap out of me.
Oh, hold on. Damn it.
Like, yeah, the way I normally fight great swords is I just hard swap to a Hammer. So.
Okay, alright. Alright, now I'm trying to see exactly what I'm... Alright, so what do you got? Oh, you got a meta weapon. Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ!
It's a whole tier below you.
Here we go. Yes.
The old backstep down. And unlike Dante, I do buff my character. I do buff my weapon. Let's go.
Come on. Ow. Alright, your first hit goes to you. Uh-oh. The Shieldenstein. This you can just use so much with this with the stamina, man. That's crazy.
Oh, bad trades.
No! I went for it thinking you were gonna go away, but no, you were in there. Yeah, that wake up is insane. Damn, that wake up is crazy. Oh no way! Oh man, I can't. Nah, this is too close for comfort right here, man.
I done goofed. I goofed.
Oh, okay.
That roll catch.
Okay, that was interesting. Damn it! If I would have had that riposte, I didn't think you were that low.
Yeah. Neither did I. I didn't realize. I should have rolled. I thought I could block, but I wasn't watching my stamina. GG, man.
GG. Oh man, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, again, I would put that weapon you were using top tier, because you got me on the wake up, and I literally, that was like you did it in perfect timing. I literally couldn't do
Yeah.
anything. So
Yeah, I can see that.
that's crazy though, because you automatically get those 4 hits. You just get them. It's so absurd. That weapon is so ridiculous to me. Anyways, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we talked about this. This is just interesting to discuss it now that all the weapons are out. Everything is out. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you enjoyed your time with me here, Revan. Check his channel out, Revan619. I'm sure he has the same deal.
Oh yeah, I definitely. People, I can't shill Dante enough. It's like my content if it wasn't lazy and enjoyable. So yeah.
All right, man. So as you probably know, like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think, and I, me, he, Revan619 will be back.